Chapter-721-Cold Letter. Before Tsunade and others entered Kumogakure, Lao Ai held a very brief high-level meeting. Although he didn't know the purpose of Konoha, he had lost to Han Guang before. He knew very well that this time the Konoha messenger came, and he definitely wanted something. In this regard, Lao Ai asked for some opinions, what requests can be agreed temporarily, and what requests should be rejected at once. Although Lao Ai has his own ideas, he will not ignore the opinions of the consultants. After half an hour, in the quaint and tough hall, Lao Ai led 2 advisors and many Kumogakure guards who supported the scene to formally receive the Konoha messenger. Lao Ai did not expect that the ambassador to Kumogakure was actually Tsunade. Tsunade has many titles. She is not only the wife of Han Guang, but also the granddaughter of Hokage of the 1st generation, and the only female disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen of Hokage of the 3rd generation. Because of so many titles, Tsunade's position in Konoha is not high enough, but her status is extremely special. Tsunade came with good intentions, the etiquette was in place, and Lao Ai didn't make things difficult, so the 2 sides exchanged greetings. "I don't know why you came here this time," Lao Ai asked solemnly. "This is a handwritten letter from my husband Kun, please read it by Mr. Hokage." Tsunade took out the scroll from his arms and handed it to the nearest Kumogakure ninja. The Kumogakure ninja wanted to check if there was any problem with the scroll, Lao Ai, but he said directly, "No need, bring it." After getting the scroll, Lao Ai opened it and looked at it. "I fought with Kun a few days ago, I benefited a lot, and I felt a lot. The ninja war lasted for several years, and the world was in turmoil. Not only did ninjas die and wounded, but also displaced people everywhere. Missing nin ran rampant, and I don't know how many innocent people died. In the morning dream, blood stained the village and river, and I don't know how many bereaved people dreamed back at midnight with tears full of pillows. This battle was originally a battle of interests, but now, it has become a battle of hatred, and the catastrophe has swept across, just like you and me exist. Also have to fight between life and death, there is also the possibility of falling, is it worth it?" Quote. Konoha is not a belligerent trend, but he is the strongest in the world, attracting envy and hatred, but unable to balance the world, trapped in a quagmire, trying to calm down the troubled world, and ultimately unable to do it. Although Kumogakure is famous for war, but there are many sincere people, too, in history. There was a covenant of mutual alliance, although they hated each other due to changes, but the resentment in the past is always in the past. If you fight persistently, it will only make the relatives hate it even more, and the enemy will cheer. The war has been turbulent for too long, the farmland has been destroyed, the trade routes are blocked, the country is full of red land, and the people are starving, how can I bear it? This war is not good for you and me, not good for the country, not good for the world. The turmoil should come to an end, and I, Han Guang, would like to do it for you. This is a life-threatening effort, and I sincerely invite, Kun is willing to join hands to form an alliance between the 2 forces, and to bring peace to the world. Will you? A long letter that is eloquent, not to mention the literary beauty, but also Akatsuki's emotional. In fact, Lu Han didn't want to be so troublesome, he just wrote a sentence about forming an alliance. But in this way, it may not be able to impress the stubborn Lao Ai, and it may not be able to impress the Kumogakure executives. You must know that the matter of forming an alliance is not a matter of 2 people, but a matter of 2 shinobi villages. The village of Konoha is in trouble, and the country of Rain is at a disadvantage in the battlefield. Therefore, they actively seek an alliance. The top officials of Konoha are eagerly hoping that Konoha can form alliances with other forces to reverse the disadvantage. But Kumogakure is different. They have no need to form an alliance. They have been fighting against Iwagakure for many years. After invading the land, they do not know how much money they looted. Although they did not occupy the land and population, they still tasted the sweetness of the war. Of course, Kumogakure also killed a lot of ninjas for it. After reading Lu Han's letter, Lao Ai was silent for a long time. "What do you think, Lord Hokage?" Tsunade asked after waiting for a while. Are you here to negotiate an alliance? Lao Ai raised his head and asked. He seemed to want to confirm with the messenger, because the alliance request in Lu Hengxin's letter came too suddenly, which caught Lao Ai by surprise. Yes, Tsunade nodded. This matter is of great importance. Lao Ai opened his mouth, stopped again, and thought for a while before saying, you stay in the village for now, and I will let you know when I discuss the results here. Tsunade's face suddenly brightened, and Jiraiya and Orochimaru's expressions were strange, even a little surprised. He didn't refuse right away. Have a play. Lao Ai asked Tsunade to arrange accommodation for the three of them. After the three of them left with the Kumogakure ninja who led the way, he immediately called someone to announce the meeting. Different from the previous brief meeting, Lao Ai called a full 20 or 30 people this time. In addition to a few advisors at the top, the principals of various departments, legion psychics, and the chiefs of major clans are all on the list. It also includes Lao Ai's son, Xiao Ai. The dimly lit cave is extremely huge, and the Raiden Thunder style chakra is strong. The cave is full of things, piles of gold silver, stacked boxes, and many valuable objects, such as gold-silver utensils, statues and jewelry, etc., many of which are randomly piled together and look very messy. This is the Kumogakure treasure house, the most heavily guarded forbidden area in the village of Kumogakure. Xiao Ai has the right to enter and leave the treasure house at will, and does not need Lao Ai to specially notify the caretaker. Crash. A sound of rummaging. Xiao Ai was rummaging through a pile of clutter, and the little guy Killer Bee ran to a dark place, looking for something he liked while noticing whether Xiao Ai was looking at himself. Hey, this knife is so beautiful, and it doesn't look like a very valuable thing. Killer Bee's eyes lit up, and he said loudly on purpose, and picked up a sheathless sword from the weapon rack. Don't take it, Xiao Ai said without thinking, then looked up at Killer Bee. Little Killer Bee held the tachi, and with a flick of his arm, he shook out 3 knives. It was incredible to be able to show this kind of swordsmanship at such an age. Put it back. Xiao Ai drank again. Killer Bee pouted in dissatisfaction and put down the knife reluctantly. Xiao Ai sighed in her heart, but unfortunately, Killer Bee has an extraordinary talent in swordsmanship, but Kumogakure does not have a ninja with extremely high swordsmanship. Although there are many people who can point Killer Bee, when Killer Bee grows up, I'm afraid he can only rely on himself. Xiao Ai was suddenly stunned, because he thought of a person with the strongest swordsmanship in the world today, Han Guang. Chapter-722-Ali. In the past, the most powerful swordsman in the ninja world was demigod Hanzo. Later, Konoha White Fang chased after him. Someone once said that White Fang's swordsmanship may surpass Hanzo in the future, but some people are not optimistic about White Fang, thinking that the demigods will always be the strongest swordsman. Until the cold light turned out. Swordsmanship is the strongest, no more controversy. Because Hengguang chased and killed Hanzo for thousands of miles, and finally cut off Hanzo's arm, he became famous all over the world. Xiao Ai's knowledge of Hengguang's swordsmanship comes entirely from the Battle of End Valley. Xiao Ai saw Hengguang perform swordsmanship in Raiden Thunder style chakra mode with her own eyes, and she fought with Lao Ai. In Xiao Ai's opinion, Han Guang can fight with his father for so long with swordsmanship, and no one can do anything about it. He must be the strongest. It is impossible for someone to be stronger than the cold light sword technique, otherwise, wouldn't he be able to defeat his father? The despicable and shameless Han Guang, if he hadn't learned the Raiden Thunder style chakra pattern, how could he have been on a tie with his father? Thinking of Lu Han, Xiao Ai became angry and bit Kiba for a while. He felt at a loss again. Although I have gained some skills with the cold light, how can it be compared with the Raiden Thunder style chakra pattern being stolen? Slam, la. A screeching sound. But it was the unhappy Killer Bee expressing his dissatisfaction to Xiao Ai, deliberately fiddling with the swords on the weapon general to make noise. There are many ninjas who are good at swordsmanship in Kumogakure village, so there are many swords on the weapon rack, but the swords are weak. Numbers, those that can be placed in the treasure house are not ordinary. Xiao Ai looked at Killer Bee again, but did not scold, instead her mind moved. If Hangguang can guide Killer Bee's swordsmanship, Killer Bee will definitely improve rapidly. Hangguang takes advantage of Kumogakure, so we can't just forget it. When I have a chance to see Hangguang again, I must make him pay the price. It's a pity. Quote. Xiao Ai thought about it over and over again, and immediately forgot about it again, and concentrated on searching. He also knew that his thoughts were a little unrealistic. Han Guang was a supreme powerhouse with the same reputation as his father. Even if he had the chance to see him, he couldn't force him to point out anyone. I don't know when I will go to Konoha again. Xiao Ai muttered, her eyes suddenly lit up. The pile of items in front of him, along with some gold and silver utensils on the pile, slipped and fell, and a gray box was exposed. The box that Xiao Ai remembered was seen when she was very young. Immediately took out the box, removed the lock on it. Xiao Ai opened the box. There was a pair of golden armguards with thick walls. That's it. Xiao Ai couldn't wait to remove the imitations from her arms and put them on for real. You can take it, not me, cheapskate. Killer Bee muttered beside the weapon rack, then glanced at the knife he had taken before the knife on the weapon rack. In fact, that sword was not that good either. Compared to the famous swords used by some of the Kumogakure ancestors on the weapon rack, it was quite ordinary. The best knife 7-year-old Killer Bee had ever seen growing up. The sound of footsteps suddenly sounded, approaching quickly. Master, an emergency meeting. Lord Hokage will let you pass. A Kumogakure Anbu ninja rushed into the treasure house and quickly said to Xiao Ai. Oh, I see, go right away. Xiao Ai replied immediately, and while running out, he didn't forget to greet Killer Bee. Don't look. Don't take things indiscriminately, go. Come on. Killer Bee responded loudly on purpose, but didn't go out. Xiao Ai was very impatient, because he knew that once it was an emergency meeting to notify him of the past, it must be a matter of great importance. Lao Ai hates someone to be late. Xiao Ai didn't look behind, until he ran out of the long passage, only to realize that the little guy didn't follow. Troublejing, hurry up, bring that kid out to me. Xiao Ai didn't go back to look for it, she instructed the guard ninja, and hurried to the conference room. The meeting was held on time and no one was absent. Lao Ai explained the purpose of the Konoha messenger, and then took out Lu Han's personal letter and handed it to several high-level advisors to circulate to each other. Alliance. Konoha wants to form an alliance with us so suddenly. I am afraid that he will encounter big trouble. I am afraid that there is a problem in the battlefield of the Rain Country. Unable to form an alliance, we became Konoha's help, but Kumogakure was no good. I don't know what happened in the country of Rain. Xiao Ai attended the meeting and sat on the right side of Lao Ai. Lao Ai had the intention to cultivate Xiao Ai, so Xiao Ai had a very strong voice at the meeting. Alliance. Xiao Ai's face was a little weird, her eyes were faintly shining. Hanggu is about the same strength as my father. Kumogakure and Konoha have formed an alliance. The one who came to our Kumogakure as a messenger this time is Han Guang's wife, the medical sage Tsunade. Since Han Guang sent his wife here, it shows that he attaches great importance to this matter and is eager to form an alliance. Listening to the discussions, Lao Ai interjected. Road. Is it Master Tsunade? Xiao Ai looked at Lao Ai blankly with a startled look. Yes, what's wrong? Lao Ai didn't understand why his son reacted like this. Oh, it's nothing, that is, when I was in Konoha village, I was taken care of by Master Tsunade. I had lunch at Hangguang's house for many days, and I was invited by Master Tsunade. Xiao Ai said something. One bite at a time, Master Tsunade. Xiao Ai's respect for Tsunade is reflected in her words. Lao Ai nodded. He didn't have too many strange feelings about Tsunade before, but now he thinks Tsunade is good, very good. This meeting lasted for a full 3 hours. Because the quarrel was too intense, there was no discussion about going to war. After the meeting, everyone dispersed, and they were still talking in a low voice after they walked out of the conference room. A green forest at the foot of the mountain. The two Kumogakure advisors walked and talked about the alliance. They didn't shut up until they met the Kumogakure patrolling ninjas. The content of the meeting was confidential and could not be known to ordinary Kumogakure ninjas. But they didn't see that shortly after they left the green forest, a white figure grew out of the bushes with a strange look. Alliance. White Zetsu muttered, with a sneer. Chapter-723 Strict Teacher Produces Master Apprentice. On the rough stone courtyard field, the little guy Killer Bee held a taller sword in both hands, slashing again and again, sweat dripping down his cheeks, but he seemed tireless. Ninja school is off today, so Killer Bee doesn't need to go to school. Killer Bee's tutor is named Nakara. He is dark-skinned. Although he is tall, he is not strong in Kumogakure village. He has been teaching Killer Bee for 2 years when he is over 30 years old. He is from Kumogakure Anbu. Kumogakure Anbu is a famous swordsman, but Killer Bee doesn't know Akatsuki's true identity. Nakala walked out of the stone building on the side, looked at Killer Bee, who was practicing his swords hard, and nodded with great satisfaction. Killer Bee didn't notice the teacher coming, still focused. Nakala walked behind Killer Bee and suddenly became suspicious. He noticed the knife in Nakala's hand. It seemed to be the weapon of a sage of Kumogakure's swordsmanship. How could it be in Killer Bee's hands? Killer Bee heard the movement behind him, turned around and greeted respectfully, "Teacher." "Where did the knife come from?" Nakala asked. "Yes." Killer Bee rolled his eyes. "It was given to me by Lord Hokage." Nakala knew it, and there is no doubt about him. Killer Bee is Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column force. Lao Ai has always been very fond of him, and it is nothing more than a knife as a reward. At this moment, Xiao Ai, who had just returned from a meeting, entered the courtyard. She wanted to greet the little guy, but she saw that the knife that Killer Bee was holding was in the treasure trove, and immediately shouted, "Bastard! Come here." Killer Bee was not afraid either, looked back at Xiao Ai very calmly, and hummed, "This knife was given to me by Lord Hokage. If you don't believe it, we will confront it." The little guy is threatening Xiao Ai. This matter is going to hit Lao Ai, and Xiao Ai's unauthorized taking Killer Bee to the treasure house will be exposed. At that time, although both of them will be taught a lesson, Xiao Ai will definitely be worse. "Okay you." Xiao Ai was furious. Killer Bee ran away with a knife in his hand. In Kumogakure village, the only one who would beat him was Xiao Ai, and a hero would not suffer any immediate losses. Xiao Ai angrily wanted to catch up, but was stopped by Nakara. "Master, forget it, Killer Bee didn't do anything wrong," Nakala persuaded. "Humph." Xiao Ai snorted heavily, "Little devil. Don't let me see you." After threatening Killer Bee, who had run away, he gave Nakala a sideways look and said with great dissatisfaction, "You always do this to defend him, he will become more and more presumptuous." Quote. Yes, I will correct it." Nakala didn't dare to refute, and became a response bug. Although he is Killer Bee's teacher, his identity is 108,000 miles away from Little Abbey, and the difference in strength is also huge. The more Xiao Ai looked at Nakala, the less pleasing to the eye. For nothing else, just because Killer Bee is getting more and more difficult to discipline, and his ability to act as a rogue is increasing day by day, Xiao Ai feels that it is really Nakala's dereliction of duty, and he has not been educated well. However, Xiao Ai also understands that Nakala has concerns about not daring to educate Killer Bee cruelly. Killer Bee's identity is too special, not only Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column force, but also the future brother of Hokage, the 4th generation. These guys in the village can't even teach a child well. Xiao Ai walked away angrily, feeling that he had to tell his father about this. Xiao Ai has always believed in a strict teacher and a master student. Because that's how he came here. Lao Ai has been extremely strict with him since he was a child, which makes Xiao Ai almost without shortcomings, of course, not absolute. The only problem with Xiao Ai is that he is short-tempered and impulsive, but this is inherited from Lao Ai, not a problem of discipline. Xiao Ai found Lao Ai in the office, and did not say anything about Killer Bee stealing the knife, but said that Killer Bee was getting more and more naughty and neglected. This, Lao Ai is also very embarrassed. In fact, it is not difficult to find someone with an old-fashioned and strict character in the village, but if you add the Grand Master to swordsmanship, it will be very difficult. Kumogakure is good at swords, rather than a knife. Unless Lao Ai teaches Killer Bee himself, even if he is not good at swordsmanship, his experience alone is enough to teach 7-year-old Killer Bee. But this is not possible. Lao Ai didn't even understand his own son, so naturally he wouldn't bother to take care of Killer Bee. He's still young, it's normal for him to be naughty. Lao Ai could only say in the end, let's take a look when he's older. Time flies, and 5 days have passed in the blink of an eye. This morning, Lao Ai held a grand meeting again to discuss the alliance with Konoha. Lao Ai was actually inclined to form an alliance because he lost to Lu Han, but Lu Han didn't kill him. He felt that he should do something. In return, Xiao Ai is extremely hopeful of forming an alliance. Both father and son mean this, so this matter is almost finalized, but there are still some details of the alliance that need to be discussed clearly at the meeting. And at the same time, the village of Iwagakure, the land of the land. Third generation, Reikajinoki, left the office alone after instructing someone to announce the meeting, and walked into the meeting room. He frowned all the time, looking preoccupied. With Konoha. Not allied. For this matter, Iwagakure executives have been arguing for the sky, and there is no conclusion until now, and Onoki is also very embarrassed. The empty office, Onoki was the first to enter the door, and before the others arrived, he walked to the main seat and sat down, suddenly frowning. On the desk in front of him, opposite his chair, there was a reel. Onoki was puzzled, raised his hand and said, "Someone came here just now." Immediately, a ninja Iwagakure Anbu appeared at the door, knelt down on one knee and said, "Go back to Lord Tsuchikage, no." "No, what's with the scroll?" Onoki asked. "This, subordinates don't know." The Anbu ninja was a little frightened. He didn't remember that there was a scroll on the table before. Why did he suddenly have it? Who put it up? Someone came quietly. Thinking of this Anbu ninja couldn't help but sweat. Onoki's face darkened. He stared at the scroll for a while, then picked it up to check it, and then opened it. Tsunade has been in the country of thunder for several days, intending to form an alliance with Kumogakure on behalf of Konoha. Onoki's face changed dramatically, then he became furious and suddenly stood up and said, "Good, you cold light. You have 2 swords. Damn it." Chapter 0724-Alliance finalized. Onoki was trembling with anger. Konoha wanted to ally with Iwagakure. How dare he ally with Kumogakure? Who in this world does not know? Iwagakure village and Kumogakure village have an inseparable hatred. It is the land of life and death. Over the years, thousands of Iwagakure ninjas have died at the hands of Kumogakure ninjas. Fathers die for their sons, and brothers enter. The bloody feud is inseparable. In this case, Konoha wants to form an alliance with both parties at the same time. What exactly does Hongguang want to do? Not long after, many Iwagakure executives entered the venue one after another. They saw Onoki sitting on the chair with a gloomy face and said nothing. After everyone arrived, the door to the conference room was closed, and Onoki threw the scroll to the advisor closest to him, still sulking and not speaking. The consultant looked at the contents of the scroll, and his face changed greatly, and then handed the scroll to another consultant on the other side. After many people read the contents of the scroll, the conference room was completely blown up. Hongguang is shameless. It's strange that I have to be willing to strike the country with us. It turns out that I have secretly colluded with Kumogakure. I think Hongguang doesn't want to form an alliance with us Iwagakure at all. Conspiracy. This is a conspiracy. Even sending his wife out as a messenger, probably because he is determined to form an alliance with Kumogakure. Humph. Thankfully we didn't agree to an alliance right away, or we might get stabbed in the back by Konoha. There was a lot of excitement in the conference room, and there were some calm people who asked, Lord Tsuchikage, I don't know where this situation came from. Because the style of the scroll is wrong, it can be seen that this information is not presented by the Iwagakure ninja. With a dark face, Onoki talked about the situation after he entered the office before, and finally said, "It is estimated that the intelligence detected by Amegakure and Sunagakure was sent by ninjas who are good at sneaking. Doing so would break Konoha from Iwagakure, so 80% of the time Konoha's enemies did it." Onoki naturally thought of Sunagakure and Amegakure first. "This may be a provocation. I think we should investigate first." "Yes. Since the information was not obtained by our ninjas personally, it should be checked." Kumogakure Village, dimly lit conference room, the meeting has come to an end. Then the alliance is finalized. Lao Ai glanced at everyone and said, "Who has any objections?" The quarrel has been quarreled, and no one has objected at this time. "Okay, let's end the meeting." Lao Ai got up and summoned his entourage to instruct him, "Notify the Konoha messenger and meet in the reception hall." Lao Ai and Xiao Ai walked out together, and the other Kumogakure executives also dispersed. When they reached the corridor, Xiao Ai said in a low voice, "Father, I want to go to Konoha village." "Huh?" Lao Ai glanced at his son. "Well, don't you want to form an alliance with Konoha? You need to sign an instrument. It is definitely not appropriate for you to go to Konoha in person, father. I will go on your behalf." Xiao Ai organized the wording. In this way, it can also save a lot of time. The adults go to Konoha together and sign the alliance directly. Quote. At the end, Xiao Ai said fiercely, "Also, Han Guang steals our skills, we can't just let it go. Taking advantage of the opportunity to form an alliance, I must make him pay the price. If Han Guang refuses to point me, I will not use it." Allied to threaten him. After speaking, Xiao Ai secretly looked at Lao Ai's eyes. He has firmed up his idea of practicing speed flow, but he is very concerned about Lao Ai's attitude. Well, Lao Ai pondered, but there was no change in his face that worried Xiao Ai. "I'll talk about it when I see the Konoha messenger." Seeing that Lao Ai didn't agree immediately, Xiao Ai was a little disappointed, but didn't say anything. Not long after, Kumogakure reception hall. Lao Ai took Xiao Ai and met with Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru again. Lao Ai only spoke with Tsunade, because Tsunade was the messenger, and Jiraiya Orochimaru was the escort. "We Kumogakure agree to form an alliance with you Konoha, but there are 3 conditions." Lao Ai said solemnly. "Sir Raikage, please," Tsunade responded formally. "First, Kumogakure will not send troops to the country of rain for Konoha. The country of rain is too far from the country of thunder, and there are many small countries in the middle. It is not in our interest to send troops to the country of rain. Second, once Kumogakure engages Iwagakure again, hopefully Konoha will give support. Thirdly, this covenant lasts for a maximum of 2 years, and within those 2 years." After Lao Ai finished talking about the conditions, he immediately talked about the obligations after Kumogakure and Konoha formed an alliance. "Since the 2 sides have formed an alliance, if there is a crisis in Konoha, we can't just sit back and ignore it. If you can agree to the above 3 conditions, then we are willing to when the homeland of the country of fire is attacked, we will send troops to support. At the same time, we will help you to check and balance the village of Kurigakure in the country of water. Once the village of Kurigakure in the country of water takes action in the country of vortex, our Kumogakure will issue a warning. We may even cross the sea to attack the land of water." Quote. "I agree. On behalf of Konoha, I accept all the conditions that Kumogakure offered." Tsunade answered without even thinking. Because Lu Han had explained to her, the conditions proposed by Kumogakure were not excessive. The main thing is that they won't send troops to the country of rain. Lu Han didn't plan to send them troops at all. Otherwise, wouldn't Iwagakure know about the alliance between Konoha Kumogakure? According to Lu Han's idea, to form an alliance with Kumogakure, it is enough for Kumogakure to stand still and recuperate, let the allied Iwagakure send troops into the country of rain, and Kumogakure don't pull Iwagakure's hind legs. This is the most ideal result. The alliance was officially finalized. Lao Ai thought about it, and then said, I will send my son as a representative to go with you to Konoha village and sign the alliance document. Don't bully my son and lie to him when he is young. Xiao Ai's face was happy. Tsunade's expression was strange, and he said, Of course not, please rest assured, Lord Hokage. After the alliance was settled, Tsunade and the others left and went back to pack their bags and prepare to leave. Xiao Ai was excited to go back and pack up, but she seemed to suddenly remember something, so she stopped after walking a few steps, and turned around and said, Father, I want to take Killer Bee to Konoha. Quote. Chapter-721-740 Comeback. Xiao Ai didn't do it on a whim. He thought about it for a long time. Killer Bee's talent in swordsmanship is too outstanding. If he is asked to switch to swordsmanship, it may delay him. And today's genius, the strongest swordsman is Han Guang. More importantly, Han Guang has cultivated a very outstanding disciple, who is the current Konoha's unit commander Hatake Teishuo, which shows that Han Guang is not only strong, but also very good at teaching people. From Xiao Ai's point of view, he will not let Killer Bee apprentice, but wants Killer Bee to take advantage of it. Anyway, they have formed an alliance, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force to go to Konoha, there is not much danger. Take him. Lao Ai frowned, not expecting that his son would suddenly make such a request. Why? Take him out to meet the world, we are brothers together, he has to assist me in the future, so naturally he has to open his eyes earlier. Xiao Ai first found a high-sounding reason, and then revealed the real purpose. Also, that bastard Han Guang, not only is he good at speed, but his swordsmanship is also superb. Kira went to Konoha, maybe he can let Han Guang give some pointers. Quote. No way. Lao Ai shook his head without thinking. Killer Bee is extremely important to Kumogakure. He is still young and not suitable for long-distance travel, and once he goes to Konoha, if something goes wrong, even if it is not Konoha's actions, Konoha is also responsible for breaking the alliance and hurting the roots of Kumogakure. Quote. Lao Ai thought very comprehensively. If Killer Bee was in his 20s, he might still think about it. Now that Killer Bee is only 7 years old, he hasn't graduated from the ninja school, and he doesn't even have the ability to protect himself. Lao Ai will never let Killer Bee leave Kumogakure village. Xiao Ai didn't force it, it was just an idea, not necessary. After half a day, Tsunade and others left Kumogakure village and officially set out on their way home. The reason it took so long was because it wasn't just Xiao Ai who went to Konoha with Tsunade, but a huge mission consisting of hundreds of people, and it took a lot of time for that row of people. Xiao Ai went to Konoha, but to represent Kumogakure to formally sign an alliance with Konoha, naturally he could not go alone. Among the ninjas who went to Konoha with him, there were many high-level Kumogakure executives. 3 days later, Tsunade and others and the Kumogakure delegation entered the country of fire. Because of the large number of people, the speed of the journey is not fast, so it will take at least 2 days before they reach Konoha, and since entering the country of fire, Orochimaru has taken the lead. He has to return to Konoha 1 day in advance to inform Konoha of the situation, so that Konoha can be prepared. Day later, Konoha village. During the war, there were a lot of meetings, especially after the war broke out in the Land of Rain. Luhan had a small meeting every day, a meeting every 3 days, and there would be emergency meetings from time to time. The third meeting room. The latest information, the scout team under the 6th Brigade of the 2nd Army reported to the top after the reconnaissance mission and found traces of Hanzo. This is an emergency meeting, and White Fang is explaining the latest important information. After Hanzo was injured, has been hiding in the village of Omegakure, but suddenly appeared outside the village of Omegakure this time, with an unknown motive. There is also information that a reconnaissance brigade of the 2nd Corps and 3 scout teams have disappeared in the area where Hanzo appeared, and it is suspected that Hanzo did it. After White Fang finished speaking, he sat down, and Kaharu Udatane immediately said, "In the battlefield of the Land of Rain, we were not able to check and balance Hanzo's strong men, and Hanzo made a comeback. If he really does sneak attacks all the time, we will be in big trouble. Now, Kaharu Udatane's words had no other meaning, just to illustrate a point. She didn't want Luhan to leave Konoha and let Luhan deal with Hanzo, because that would make it more troublesome. Luhan was on the front line, and Hanzo would always hide when he went. Hanzo is really shameless, Luhan said contemptuously. The superpowers are shameful. Do you see which superpowers would weaken the enemy's strength by repeatedly attacking small groups of enemies? Can't do this. Because there are superpowers on both sides. You can do this, so can I. We all go to kill the weak. You kill my team, I will kill your team. Who can benefit? Not only will the two sides not benefit, but a lot of people will die. Hanzo will stop, Hyuga Huyang said. He should understand that what he can do, we can also do it. Hanzo won't be so extreme. After all, we Konoha are at a disadvantage now, and their Omegakure and Sunagakure have the active advantage. It's not when the fish dies and the net breaks. But we can't just pretend that nothing happened. Uchiha Leiyang followed, glancing at Hyuga Huyang. I think we should make a statement to let Omegakure and Sunagakure understand that my Konoha is not unavailable. I agree, Homura Mitokado snapped. Let White Fang go. Kaharu Udatane agreed, and then looked at Luhan again. Let White Fang go to the Land of Rain and take the initiative to show up. Hanzo will definitely stop immediately. Luhan didn't reply immediately, because he didn't need it. The military orders were all discussed at the end of the meeting before they were issued. How's the Iwagakure mission? Luhan asked. Stayed in the house we arranged and didn't wander around. White Fang answered. Iwagakure has yet to give us an answer. Speaking of this, Kaharu Udatane's face turned bad. In the Omegakure battlefield, we, Konoha, took most of the pressure to reduce their losses. Now let them send troops, and they will grind to a halt. It's really ungrateful to linger. The problem is with the Kumogakure. They are afraid of the Kumogakure. They are afraid that after the troops are sent, the Kumogakure will take advantage of it. Homura Mitokado said, meaning. Lord Hengguang, I don't know, how is the connection with Kumogakure? Kaharu Udatane took the opportunity to ask. No one in Konoha knew that Luhan sent Tsunade and the three to Kumogakure. The Tsunade left in the name of supporting the Land of Rain. However, Luhan said at the meeting a few days ago that he had sent people to Kumogakure and Kaharu. Udatane believes that Luhan sent Anbu ninjas there. I haven't replied yet. Luhan shook his head, also a little worried. How long has Tsunade been gone, and why hasn't there been any news yet? Report. Anbu ninja's voice suddenly sounded outside the door. Sir Orochimaru is back. Oh, Luhan got up for a while and said, wait. After speaking, he disappeared into the conference room. Chapter 0726-Night Change. Even as Orochimaru, he cannot trespass into the conference room. Although he has prestige, he is still the strongest among the younger generation. Even Hatake Taishuo loses half a point, but his identity is too different. There are Anbu ninjas in high-level meetings. The guard, let alone him, even if Tsunade came back, he couldn't break into the door directly. Luhan appeared outside the door out of thin air and couldn't wait to ask. Kumogakure agreed to form an alliance. Yes, Orochimaru nodded. As cold as ever, the mission is already in the country of fire. Tsunade and Jiraiya are with them, and it is estimated that it will take another day to reach Konoha. Okay, Luhan was determined. To Orochimaru, Luhan pushed open the door and took Orochimaru into the conference room. After Luhan sat down, he smiled and said, 10 days ago, I dispatched Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru to secretly go to Kumogakure to discuss the alliance. After Luhan finished speaking, he raised his hand and gestured to Orochimaru. Orochimaru's face was still cold, and he really didn't give any face, but he said formally, after we reach Kumogakure village. The process is not complicated, that is, when they arrived at Kumogakure to talk about the alliance, Lao Ai did not reply immediately. After 5 days, Kumogakure discussed the results internally and agreed to form an alliance. But there are 3 painless conditions. When Orochimaru finished speaking, the audience was amazed. Kumogakure actually agreed. 3 generations of Hokage actually agreed to form an alliance. Okay. Kaharu Udatane couldn't help but slap the table. With Kumogakure as an ally, our country of fire will be stable, and we will no longer be afraid of being invaded by foreign enemies. Konoha can also lift the current highest level of alert and mobilize more ninjas to go to the rain. If we can reach an alliance with Iwagakure village again, Iwagakure will send troops to the country of rain, and great things can be accomplished. Quote. The big thing that Kaharu Udatane said is naturally the end of this protracted ninja war. On this issue, Konoha has reached a consensus and a high degree of consensus, because Sarutobi Hiruzen had this idea before the disappearance, and the tone has long been set. After he finished speaking, Kaharu Udatane glanced at Luhan several times again, feeling a little admiration in his heart. It was negotiated. I don't know how Hengwang arranged it. What Sarutobi Hiruzen has not done for many years, Hengwang has done it, which is of great significance. Get ready, Luhan ordered, set the alliance location at the back mountain, and I will wait for everyone to attend. From now on, limit the movements of the Iwagakure mission, send 3 times more personnel to monitor, and prevent them from discovering the Kumogakure mission. Come. A day later. Kaharu Udatane personally took people out of the village for 30 miles to greet the Kumogakure mission. After the Kumogakure mission reached Konoha, Luhan met Xiaoai and others in the Hokage building, and officially set the time for the alliance signing. Luhan confessed to Xiaoai that Konoha was negotiating an alliance with Iwagakure, and Xiaoai expressed his understanding. He can understand naturally, or he doesn't care that Konoha and Iwagakure are allied, because from Kumogakure's point of view, they have invaded the land and gained a lot of benefits. They are the victors. Unlike Iwagakure, they are losers, so I hate Kumogakure. Kumogakure, who was the victor, did not. And Kumogakure is already planning to recuperate. If Konoha can get Iwagakure to give up revenge, it will be a good thing for Kumogakure. The alliance ceremony will be held at noon the next day. After the negotiation, Xiaoai and the others will leave with the Konoha ninja who arrange the accommodation. Luhan immediately instructs White Fang again and again to let him make arrangements, and do not let Kumogakure and Iwagakure mission ninja meet. Night, the mansion in the forest. After dinner, Hyuga Luo Ning took Kushina out to play with fun, and went back to the place where the Hyuga family lived. He didn't even help Tsunade clean up the table. In the dimly lit lobby, only Luhanyu was left after returning for half a day. Tsunade. You can spoil her. She's so lazy, one big and one small, that she doesn't even pick up the tableware. Tsunade muttered to Luhan dissatisfiedly as he cleaned up the table. However, Luhan didn't seem to hear what Tsunade was saying. He tilted his head to look at Tsunade's beautiful figure under the lights, suddenly got up and hugged Tsunade from behind, his hands dishonestly lifting Tsunade's clothes. Oops, what are you doing? Didn't take a shower. It's so fragrant, you don't need to wash it. Tsunade was ashamed of Yuhi, because she knew that the Anbu ninja who was in charge of secretly guarding was very close to the main building because she was not in the bedroom at night, and she was afraid of being heard. Go away. Knowing Tsunade's concerns, Luhan shouted to the outside, and impatiently pressed Tsunade to the ground. Tsunade seemed to be agitated by Luhan and became active and enthusiastic. Ashamed of Yuhi and hid in the dark clouds. Some obsession, the beauty of which is indescribable. After Luhan completed the human relations affairs on Tsunade, he still didn't know what to do, but Tsunade hummed and didn't want to. The space in the lobby was too bright, which made her feel uneasy. Go to the room, Tsunade begged softly, hugging Luhan's neck. Okay. Luhan laughed, hugged Tsunade horizontally, and before he got up to leave the wooden cave, he heard a loud report from the distance outside the door. Report. Iwagakure has sent messengers again and has entered the village. Understood. Luhan responded and went upstairs with Tsunade in his arms. Iwagakure is here again. It is estimated that a decision has been made. Whether Iwagakure agrees to form an alliance or not we'll see Akatsuki tomorrow. The new messenger will definitely go to Laozi to explain the situation. Luhan doesn't have to worry about it now. Until late at night. Luhan and Tsunade spent several times in the bedroom, until Tsunade begged for mercy, and Luhan stopped. Although he and Tsunade have been married for many years, they are already an old husband and wife, but Luhan's love for Tsunade has not diminished, but has become more obsessed. Tsunade doesn't get old, and as the years go by, Tsunade becomes more and more charming while still having a girly face. If only I could have a baby. Luhan stroked Tsunade's belly and said softly. Tsunade felt pain in his heart, turned over and hugged Luhan, and whispered in Luhan's ear, "There will be." Report. The sound of a report suddenly sounded outside the window. The Iwagakure mission claimed that something had happened in the village of Iwagakure and that they wanted to leave Konoha. Lord Whitefang did not dare to detain him without authorization. "Lord Hengguang, please make a decision." Luhan rolled over and sat up from the soft slump. Chapter-727-740 Who will God forgive? What happened to Iwagakure? Luhan frowned, thought about it, tilted his head and said in a low voice, "I'll come when I go." After saying that, he hand seal with one hand, performed continuous dressing technique, and then dressed neatly. Luhan flickered outside the main building and came to the Anbu ninja who was standing in the courtyard and bowed to report. "What's the situation?" Luhan asked. Just now, all the ninjas of the Iwagakure mission left the house where they lived and wanted to leave immediately. The Anbu ninja said respectfully. The Anbu ninja squadron in charge of guarding followed all the way until Captain Whitefang, who got the news, came and stopped him. I got them down and asked about the situation. Luhan has never given an order to detain the Iwagakure mission. It is not necessary at all. Even if Laozi suddenly says he wants to leave, Luhan will let him go. But to form an alliance. Because of this, the Anbu ninjas who are in charge of guarding and monitoring can only restrict the movement of the ninjas of the Iwagakure mission and prevent them from wandering in the Konoha village, but they cannot refuse their request to leave Konoha. As soon as he left, Luhan had no objection, but he suddenly left without saying goodbye, which made Luhan feel very strange. What happened to Iwagakure suddenly? They are in such a hurry. Luhan frowned. Anbu had no news at all. He opened the Insight map. Luhan did not see any traces of Iwagakure ninjas. Iwagakure ninjas could only take fixed routes in Konoha village, and on these routes, Luhan did not see the gathering of orange dots. He must have left the village. At most, Whitefang asked about the situation and persuaded him to wait. It was impossible for him to forcibly intercept without an order. That was the intention of the attacking mission to seize it. If this kind of thing happened, it would affect Konoha's reputation. Whitefang, I can't take this responsibility. What exactly is going on here? Luhan couldn't figure it out. He shook his head and said, "Forget it, let them go and tell Whitefang to come back." Yes. Anbu ninja took the order and disappeared in place. Luhan turned around and walked towards the main building, thinking as he walked, his brows were always wrinkled. He already had a hunch that this alliance might not be possible. No matter whether Iwagakure really had a change or not, the sudden departure of the mission would put the negotiation on hold for the time being. Iwagakure doesn't want to fight Kumogakure, right? Luhan wanted to laugh when he thought of this. How dare he fight after repeated defeats? However, Onoki is a very stubborn person, so this is a real possibility. Konoha refused to attack Kumogakure with Iwagakure, and Iwagakure was unwilling to send troops to the Land of Rain, so naturally there was no need for an alliance. Not long after, outside the village of Konoha, in the dense forest in the northwest, Whitefang led people to follow the Iwagakure mission, and they walked all the way, with a taste of escort, but Whitefang has been persuading Laozi, hoping that Laozi can stay for the time being and go back to explain the situation to Hongguang. Laozi didn't say a word, with an expression of bitterness and hatred, as if something big had happened in Iwagakure village. An Anbu ninja appeared next to Whitefang and whispered in a low voice. Whitefang stopped and watched the Iwagakure mission leave, then waved and led them back to Konoha. Laozi took the people for a few kilometers, and he was relieved after confirming that the people from Konoha did not follow him, and they really left. Damn Konoha, actually allied with Kumogakure. The old purple bite Kiba muttered. The reason why he was in such a hurry to leave is because the Iwagakure ninja after night brought back the news of the secret alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure. Onoki told him to leave Konoha quickly to prevent any changes. If Luhan could know all of this, he would definitely cry out that he was wronged. There is no such thing as double-sided conspiracy and trickery. It is just an alliance. The hatred between you and Kumogakure has nothing to do with Konoha's half a cent. Full speed ahead. Laozi waved and shouted loudly, "Leave the country of fire as soon as possible, go." More than a dozen Iwagakure ninjas suddenly accelerated and ran towards the northwest of the fire country. Laozi didn't realize that a pair of treacherous eyes were staring at them secretly, and in front of the direction they were walking, a large group of ninjas were waiting for them. 30 kilometers northwest of Konoha village. Old Z led people to this forest in a hurry, and suddenly felt strong chakra fluctuations all around him at the same time. His face changed dramatically and shouted, "Be careful." Boom, boom, rumbling. There were flames, thunder flashed, and a group of black-clothed ninjas who suddenly appeared from both sides launched an intensive attack on the Iwagakure mission. The flames soon ignited a forest fire, with smoke billowing into the sky. "Damn Konoha, you are attacking the mission," Laozi growled. 8 kilometers to the southeast here, Jonin, an elite of the Hyuga clan who was leading the patrol, saw the attack on the Iwagakure team through Byakugan. Konoha village. Luhan and Tsunade just fell asleep when they heard an urgent report from outside. Lord Hengwang. The Iwagakure mission was attacked 20 miles northwest of the village. Luhan looked stunned for a moment, then jumped up and disappeared directly into the air. On the night of the full moon, the forest was devastated, the smell of blood was thick, and the trees were burning, and the beating firelight illuminated the face of the corpse extremely terrifying. Luhan appeared out of thin air. Battle was over. Although the forest was severely damaged, there were not many corpses, but only a dozen or so, including Kumogakure and black-robed ninjas who attacked them. Luhan's eyes swept away, and when he saw the message displayed on the head of the black-clothed ninja's body, his pupils contracted violently. Black Market. These Black Market ninjas are from the Black Market. 8 corpses of Iwagakure ninjas, 6 corpses of Black Market ninjas. There are no corpses of Laozi, and I don't know if Laozi escaped, or... Luhan thought of a terrible consequence. The 4 tails are on Laozi. Uchiha Madara, you framed me, I am your uncle. Luhan figured out the key, and the hated Kiba was itchy, as this fucking retribution. True to that sentence. Good and evil will be rewarded eventually, heavenly path is good reincarnation. If you don't believe me, look up, who the heavens have forgiven. At the beginning, Luhan pretended to be Kumogakure and attacked the Kurigakure mission, causing the Kurigakure mission to fight against the Kumogakure mission. Now, Black Market ninjas attacked the Iwagakure mission, and Iwagakure would definitely think that Konoha did it. Call. White Fang appeared out of thin air, and after he got the news, he rushed over. Why? White Fang was a little confused when he saw the corpses, but he could think that the Iwagakure mission was attacked, and Konoha was most likely responsible for this. It's the Black Market. Luhan bit Kiba and said. Chapter-728 Those who achieve great things are not careful about the little things. Soon after Luhan and White Fang arrived, a large number of Konoha ninjas arrived at the scene, and Luhan ordered a carpet search. The search went on for a full hour. Except for the discovery of 2 more corpses, there was no other gain, and no trace of Laozi was found. This guy is a 4-tailed Jinchuriki column force. I am afraid I should be able to borrow the power of the 4 tails. If the power is rampant, the strength should not be underestimated. There is really no one in the Black Market who can subdue him. However, Luhan was still worried. Although it is impossible for Uchiha Madara to come in person, there is still a must. Returning to Konoha, Luhan found Jonin, the elite of the Hyuga clan who first discovered the attack on the Iwagakure mission, and asked, "Have you seen any special people, for example, half black and half white?" Byakugan can see through, so as long as it comes, as long as it enters Byakugan's field of vision, it will be seen. Hyuga elite Jonin wondered why Luhan asked, how can there be half-black and half-white people? Although he was puzzled, he still recalled it seriously. When he found out that the Iwagakure mission had been attacked, he immediately called someone back to inform him. Half-black and half-white. No, but, there is a guy with very white skin, who appeared twice and disappeared in a flash. White Zetsu. It was White Zetsu who came. It could be a clone or the main body, which made Luhan relieved. As long as it was not Ju, there was an 80% chance that Laozi would escape. Meeting. Luhan asked White Fang to arrange a notification. After midnight, Luhan held an emergency meeting in the third conference room. The end, there is no reason to discuss it, because this matter is not clean at all. The Iwagakure mission was attacked near the village of Konoha, or it happened after they left without saying goodbye. Yes, that would be hell. Luhan has always been clear that the reason why the Ninja World War lasted so long and fought back and forth, Uchiha Madara has always been fueled by people behind, but Luhan only heard about it before, and based on the content of the original book. This time he finally met in person. Pure fucking Ninja World stirrer. Now that I think about it, whether Kumogakure suddenly broke into the land without declaring the war, or Iwagakure abandoned the two-line combat arrangement and retreated from the Land of Rain, or the recent civil strife in Kurigakure, there may be absolutely no reason behind these events. Shadow. Add fuel to the flames, stir the wind and stir the rain. The more chaotic the ninja world, the better the black market business, and the greater the interests of Uchiha Madara. But now, Luhan is determined to eradicate the black market, and it is quite effective, which affects the fundamental interests of Uchiha Madara, so he exerts his strength to pull the enemy to Konoha. Luhan is depressed, there is no solution to this matter. Even if Luhan took out the corpse of a black market ninja and found someone to identify it, even if Iwagakure thought it was really the corpse of a black market ninja, it would be useless. This cannot be used as direct evidence. Konoha is so powerful, why can't he find it? Iwagakure and Konoha have a complete break with each other, and it is already a sure thing. Luhan had already thought that Iwagakure probably knew about the secret alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure, and told them absolutely, so the envoy would leave in a hurry. With this incident, Konoha and Iwagakure can no longer be saved. The atmosphere of the meeting gradually became depressing. Luhan said that those black-clothed corpses were black market ninjas. No one doubted Konoha. Luhan entered Sarutobi Hiruzen's field of vision with the technique of knowing people. No one would object to this ability. Now, Konoha executives believe that Luhan is useless and is his own family. Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Madara, I lost a game, hehe. I'll make you regret it. Luhan thought, maybe he could rely on various calculations and arrangements to make some remedies, but Luhan didn't plan to do that anymore. Trouble. Luhan wants to cut the mess with a quick knife. There's not that much time to procrastinate on little things like this. It is difficult for us to clear the suspicion. Kaharu Udatane said after a long silence, Iwagakure village will turn against us, I am afraid. First strike is the strongest. Luhan interrupted Kaharu Udatane's words. His face was extremely cold, and those who succeeded in major events were not careful. Luhan was not the kind of person who blindly pursued integrity and justice. He's going to hit hard. With Onoki's temper, as soon as this matter comes out, he is likely to send troops to the country of rain to fight against us, Konoha, and even fight on two fronts. We can't give him a chance. Luhan's eyes swept away. Cold said, I will send a letter to Hokage, the third generation, to prompt him to send troops and put pressure on the village of Iwagakure. Also, we will immediately spread rumors to let the world know that Iwagakure has secretly made a covenant with the black market and spread public opinion, saying, why didn't I keep the four-tailed Jinchuriki column force? I really want to stay. Who can escape? Although public opinion will not affect the general trend of the war, Konoha, still try not to bear the infamy of attacking the mission, so I questioned the village of Iwagakure on the basis that the four-tailed Jinchuriki column were not in our hands, saying that this was a plan they had arranged. Play. Luhan made a simple arrangement and then announced the meeting. New day, noon. Konoha and Kumogakure held an alliance ceremony in front of the Hokage building, and officially signed the document. It was originally set at the back mountain, mainly to hide from Iwagakure, but there is no need to hide it now. This would make Konoha's alliance with Kumogakure more solid. And after the Konoha-Kumogakure alliance is informed to the world, it will also form enough deterrence. After the ceremony, Konoha held a grand banquet. Afterwards, Luhan had a separate conversation with Xiao Ai. He handed the letter to Xiao Ai and instructed Xiao Ai to hand it over to Ai after he went back, but Xiao Ai said, "I won't go back, I am here as a diplomatic envoy, to facilitate the cooperation between the two villages." Quote. Just looking for a reason, Luhan didn't expose it. Xiao Ai stayed, along with 8 guards, and the rest of the mission left. Someone took the first step, brought Luhan's handwritten letter, and quickly returned to Kumogakure. 3 days later, Lao Ai saw Luhan's handwritten letter in the morning, and decided to send troops in the afternoon. All the 3 main battle corps of Kumogakure rushed to the western border. It was on this day that Tsuchikage III made a public speech in the village of Iwagakure, officially declaring war on Konoha. Chapter-721-740 In his public speech, Tsuchikage denounced the crimes of Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Hangwang, described Konoha as a vicious village full of executioners, said Sarutobi Hiruzen is the initiator of the Ninja World War, and said that Sarutobi Hiruzen was dead. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen was life or death no one knows, but Onoki wished Sarutobi Hiruzen was dead, naturally said so. And Hangwang was described by Onoki as a despicable, shameless, and trustworthy, unintentional villain. Onoki really used so many adjectives, because when he was speaking, he mentioned the 2 words cold light more than once, and every time he mentioned it, he would add derogatory adjectives in front, such as despicable cold light, two-faced. Cold light. Onoki also denounced Luhan for causing the Konoha ninja to attack the Iwagakure mission. This is especially important because it is the reason Onoki declared war on Konoha. Of course, declaring war is one thing, and whether or not to fight is another matter. There is also a country between the land of fire and the land of rain, so it is impossible for Iwagakure to fight. Onoki's declaration of war is more of an attitude. He stated that he is the enemy of Konoha. The enemies of Konoha, Sunagakure, Amegakure, and Kurigakure are all enemies of Konoha. The 5 major ninja villages plus Amegakure village, 4 of the 6 major forces are enemies of Konoha, and only Kumogakure and Konoha are united. Perhaps, Onoki hopes to start a bigger war by declaring war on Konoha, preferably in the land of fire. After Onoki's passionate and generous proclamation, the entire Iwagakure village boiled, and the flame of revenge had burned in the hearts of every Iwagakure ninja. Onoki stood on the high platform and looked at the nearly 10,000 ninjas on the huge square below. Emotionally. Send troops. Send troops. Vengeance. Eradicate Konoha. Send troops. Send troops. There was a tidal wave of shouts from the high platform, one wave after another. Okay. The short and extremely majestic Onoki snorted coldly and waved, send troops. Iwagakure 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Main Battle Corps, sent troops to the Land of Rain to assist Sunagakure Corps, Amegakure Corps Legion, destroy the Konoha bastards. In the afternoon of that day, Iwagakure's 2 major armies, nearly 7,000 people, set off to leave the village of Iwagakure and march into the Land of Rain. At the same time, Onoki also ordered the formation of an S-class special main battle unit, which would speed up its advance into the Land of Rain and conduct a blitzkrieg battle against the Konoha Corps. Onoki is trying to fight a time difference. He had already anticipated that once Konoha got the news, Kumogakure would definitely send troops. It takes time. It takes time for the information to reach Konoha village, right? How about 3 days? It will take 3 or 4 days for Konoha to send the news to Kumogakure, right? Kumogakure sent troops to the border. It also takes 2 days, right? Also, the country of thunder and the country of earth are not bordered, but separated by a sea. So even if the Kumogakure Legion reaches the border and invades the land of the earth, it will take another 3 or 4 days, right? In this way, it would be at least 10 days before the land was attacked. And Onoki is going to use these 10 days to catch the Konoha Legion in the land of rain by surprise. If it is arranged properly, it may be able to directly hit the major legions of Konoha. At that time, even if the Iwagakure Corps withdraws, the Sunagakure and Omegakure who already have the upper hand will be able to clean up the crippled Konoha Corps. This time, the country of the earth sent troops. It can be said that it came out in full force. There are fewer than 3,000 ninjas left behind in Iwagakure village. Iwagakure originally had 5 main battle corps, but because of the previous years of war with Kumogakure village, Iwagakure village killed 4 or 5,000 people, so Onoki cancelled the designation of the 2 legions and left the remaining soldiers of the 2 legions, all divided into the other 3 armies. 3 major corps sent troops to Omegakure village, and Iwagakure village left only the garrison corps, as well as special ninja troops such as Anbu, and the clan guards of the major tribes. 2 days later, the 3 major legions of Iwagakure have 1 day left to enter the land of rain. At the same time, nearly 8,000 ninjas from the 3 main battle armies of Kumogakure village arrived at the western border of the land of thunder and officially set up camp. Kumogakure are all taijutsu ninjas, so their speed is extremely fast, even if it is a corps action. If they march quickly, the speed can be twice that of other ninja village corps. Onoki wanted to play blitz, and Kumogakure was actually a blitz expert. The west coast of the land of thunder. Lao-I stood on the beach, looking at the endless sea, looking at the sea horizon, and the war was raging in his eyes. On the opposite side of the sea, was the territory of the land of earth, a land that was much richer than the land of thunder. Of the 5 kingdoms of the ninja world, the most prosperous is the kingdom of fire, followed by the kingdom of water, then the kingdom of earth, the kingdom of thunder, and the kingdom of wind. This kind of richness not only refers to commerce, but also the scale of land, crops, mineral production, etc. Sha. An old man with half-white hair on his back, but his spirit flickering, walked behind I, looked in the direction that Lao-I was looking at, and asked, "When are we going there?" "Wait first," Han Guang said that he has obtained secret information. Iwagakure may send troops to the country of rain to attack the Konoha Corps. If we act too early and are detected by Iwagakure, they will definitely send troops to fight us. It takes a lot of time to transmit information across the sea. Let's rest for a while. Lao-I also has bad intentions. He hoped that Iwagakure would send troops to the country of rain. In this case, once the Iwagakure army was trapped in the country of rain and could not withdraw immediately, Lao-I could send troops westward and attack the country of soil with all his strength. Whether it can occupy the territory or not, at least it can be looted, and the merchants who have been providing war funds to the land and the village of Iwagakure are all harvested like leeks. Konoha Legion in the land of rain will be defeated by this. Lao-I thinks not, because there is a cold light. Another day. The Iwagakure Legion has officially reached the Earth-Rain frontier and is about to enter the land of rain. At the same time, the information about Onoki's declaration of war on Konoha village and Iwagakure village sending troops to the land of rain was also conveyed to Konoha village and Hangguang's hands. He. Lu Han sneered after reading the information. He has decided to hit Iwagakure hard. And Onoki gave him a chance. Chapter-730 Who said I was going to the land of rain? Iwagakure actually dispatched 3 main battle corps at one time. Once these 3 corps entered the country of rain, plus the 3 Sunagakure corps, the Puppet Corps, the 3 Omegakure corps. A total of 10 corps, with a total of more than 20,000 troops. Ninjas, and we have only 9,000 ninjas. White Fang, who handed over the information to Lu Han, frowned and analyzed, with a very ugly face. In fact, He rarely expresses his opinion on such matters, but this time the problem is too serious. No one expected that Onoki could be so extreme. No, White Fang didn't wait for Lu Han to speak, then shook his head again. Iwagakure not afraid of Kumogakure waiting for an opportunity to invade. Of course he's afraid. Lu Han narrowed his eyes slightly, and his eyes flashed with light, so this time Iwagakure sent troops. He would definitely not fall too deep in the country of rain. It is estimated that Onoki was thinking of retreating with a single blow. Iwagakure 3 The big army only needs to appear on the frontal main battlefield once, and it can unite Sunagakure and Omegakure to give us a heavy blow. This. White Fang frowned deeper. Don't worry, the worst won't happen. Lu Han sneered. Oh, White Fang was shocked and looked at Lu Han. You want to? He didn't know what Lu Han had planned. Notify me of the meeting. Lu Han didn't say it directly. Not long after. Konoha Conference Room 3, more than 20 people attended the meeting, including Tsunade. I just received the information. Lu Han briefly explained the situation of Iwagakure. Damn it. Kaharu Udatane slapped the table and cursed. It's not our fault at all. It's a black market. Can't he see the problem with Onoki? Too. Kaharu Udatane was furious, as were the others. The situation in the Land of Rain deteriorated to ultimate immediately after Iwagakure dispatched troops. Behind the anger, there is powerlessness and fear. At its strongest, Konoha village didn't have 20,000 forbearance, let alone now. How big is the war in the Rain country? Even if Lu Han went in person, it would be useless. The battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain was a cloud of masters, and there was even a superpower like Hanzo. Retreat. Homura Mitokado said immediately, holding up his glasses. We retreat. The Legion withdraws from the Land of Rain, and temporarily abandons the northwest territory of the Land of Fire. Once we do this, Sunagakure, Omegakure, and Iwagakure will take advantage of the situation to enter. After all, however, at most it is a loot, and they will definitely retreat. The three forces of theirs are also in their own hands. They can't beat Konoha alone, so they unite together, but if Konoha retreats without fighting and comes up with a big piece of cake, they will definitely fight, and a fight will occur. In this way, their alliance I won't attack myself. Doing this will cause great losses to the Land of Fire and cause daimyo dissatisfaction, but we have preserved our strength and can make a comeback. In fact, we only need to persist until the Kumogakure Legion enters the Land of Earth, and Iwagakure will retreat. Homura Mitokado has always been steady, and he came up with the safest solution. He was right. The alliance between Sunagakure and Omegakure is extremely unstable. The whole world knows what virtue Hanzo is, and Iwagakure, who joined later, needless to say, and it is impossible to participate in the war for too long. But in doing so, the country of fire will suffer great losses, and it will also be a great blow to Konoha's prestige. What kind of bullshit is this? Uchiha Leiyang jumped up after hearing this, scolding Homura Mitokado, coward. So cowardly, we just surrender. Although the northwest of the Land of Fire is close to the Land of Rain, it was affected by the war. Not rich, but how can there be a reason to hand over to others? Homura Mitokado was annoyed by being sprayed, but was disdainful of Uchiha Leiyang. It's not right to do that, Kaharu Udatane interjected, stopping Uchiha Leiyang while also opposing Homura Mitokado, though she didn't speak ill of Homura Mitokado because she had a good personal relationship with him. We can't retreat. Hyuga Huyang also said, we haven't taken that step yet. The big deal is to retreat to the border first, wait and see Kumogakure's actions. But by doing this, we Konoha 9,000 ninjas will be in extreme danger. If we are not careful, we will suffer heavy casualties. Inuzuka said with tears in his face. What are you afraid of? Uchiha Leiyang was furious. He was the same age as Inuzuka Lei. Although his status was incomparable, he was very rude. We have ninjas in Konoha. He looked at Lu Han again and said, Lord Hengguang. Uchiha clan, I am willing to go to the front line and fight the enemy to the end. Quote. Uchiha Leiyang is invited to fight. The Uchiha tribe is the Konoha police force. Hundreds of ninjas are in Konoha. Because the Uchiha ninjas are extremely talented and have a very high average strength level, the combat power of these few hundred people is comparable to a small army of 1,500 people. Humph! Hyuga Huyang snorted coldly, glanced at Uchiha Lei-young, and said to Lu Han, the Hyuga family is willing to fight. If the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan can be merged together, even though there are only 600 or 700 people, their combat power is comparable to that of a large army. This is still without considering the older generation of the two races. Lu Han looked at Uchiha Lei-young, then at Hyuga Huyang, then raised his hand to signal them to relax. No need, in fact, I already have a solution to the current situation. Lu Han calmly said, his eyes swept away. I will leave Konoha for a while. During this period, the big and small affairs will be handled by Lord Kaharu and Lord Menyon. Lord Huyang and the three discussed and decided. If you still can't decide, you can refer to the opinion of Lord Inuzuka Tears. No, Kaharu Udatane immediately objected and said eagerly, in the current situation, even if you go to the land of rain, it won't help. Konoha needs you to take charge. I can't go. Tsunade also spoke, shaking his head at Lu Han. Even if Lord Hengguang makes a personal shot, he can't resist 20,000 ninjas. Sunagakure, Iwagakure, and Amegakure have many strong men, and there are also half-body Hanzo to contain them. I'm afraid. Hyuga Huyang shook his head after saying that. The implication was that it's useless for Lu Han to go, it's impossible for one person to break thousands of people. Because there are too many strong opponents, Hanzo plus a team of strong people is enough to contain Lu Han. Who said I'm going to the land of rain? Lu Han stood up, his voice heavy, I'm going to Iwagakure village. Chapter 0731-arrange. As soon as Lu Han finished speaking, the conference room became extremely quiet. Going to Iwagakure village. Again. This reminded everyone present that Lu Han defeated Kurigakure by himself. That battle gave Lu Han the reputation of number one in the world, but is Iwagakure village the same as Kurigakure village? The smashed Kurigakure village has experienced two civil strife, few strong people, and Boiling Rain was killed by a sneak attack. Can Iwagakure village? The danger level of Iwagakure village is by no means smaller than that of Konoha village. There are many older generation powerhouses, major special forces, and Tsuchikajinoki, the third generation of the strongest powerhouse. Just one Onoki is enough to restrain Lu Han. Are you going to die? Lu Han saw everyone's faces in his eyes, and without waiting for them to object, he immediately said, also, I'm not going alone this time. In addition to taking a few people away in Konoha, I will also contact Kumogakure. Quote. Lu Han revealed his bold plans and the whole story. Then he ordered. The White Fang obeyed the order and ordered you to go to the land of rain as soon as possible after the meeting, and pass my order that all ninjas belonging to Konoha should retreat to the southeastern border of the land of rain, and then lead people to attack the logistics transportation routes of Sunagakure and Amegakure. To create as much chaos as possible. Tsunade obeys orders. Order you to bring Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and other members of the S Division who stayed behind in Konoha, and rushed to the land of rain after the meeting to assist the White Fang in the fight, while preventing the Sunagakure Corps from using poison. Hyuga Heian listened to the order and ordered you to take the Hyuga Independent Scout troops to the country of rain, investigate the retreat route, and ensure that the major Konoha legions retreat to the border safely. After Lu Han issued the order, he disregarded the objections of a few people and announced the meeting was dismissed. In the empty corridor, Tsunade caught up with Lu Han who was rushing along. Han, stop, Tsunade fumed. Lu Han knew that Tsunade was worried about himself, because there was nothing more dangerous than going to the 5 great ninja villages. This was not the first time that Lu Han had tried his life. Many times before, Tsunade didn't know what Lu Han was doing. Only this time, she went from everything is clear inside and out. Lu Han hugged Tsunade without saying a word, just kept holding him. Tsunade isn't the type to be extremely headstrong, and she doesn't cry and make trouble when she disagrees. And this time, Lu Han not only put himself in danger, but also put Tsunade in danger, which made Tsunade much better, and would not make her feel powerless when her husband went out to work hard and she couldn't do anything. Will it be safe? Tsunade asked. Yes. Be sure to come back safely. You too. Tsunade went to prepare. He had to go to Jiraiya and Orochimaru first, and then go to the S department to convey the order. There are not many ninjas in the S department, but they also have a squadron size, and when Hitachi Taishuo left, he only took a squad with him, and also more than 10 people remain. This is a group of very powerful young people. Lu Han put them by Tsunade's side. He also has selfish intentions. He hopes that when he really encounters irresistible danger, Tsunade can survive under the protection of others. With them around, Tsunade will be very safe, even if he encounters Hanzo, as long as he doesn't get besieged by the Legion. Another half-day passed. Tsunade, White Fang, Hyuga Haeyoung, etc. have all set off. Lu Han is at home with Hyuga Luo Ning, who is heartless and doesn't know anything. After passing him, let Lu Han drive away on the grounds of an upcoming mission. Call. Chakra fluctuations suddenly came from outside the door, and then a respectful voice sounded, "Teacher, I'm back." It's Hitachi Taishuo. He is back. As early as the day he officially formed an alliance with Kumogakure, Lu Han sent someone to the country of Wind to find him and let him come back. At that time, Lu Han realized that Iwagakure might have made a move, so he asked Hitachi Taishuo to come back to be prepared and let him come with him. A mission is a decision made later. Be good. Lu Han took Hyuga Luo Ning's hand and smiled. Cut, I'm not a little girl. Hyuga Luo Ning wrinkled her nose in dissatisfaction. Lu Han smiled and appeared outside the door. He tilted his head to Hitachi Taishuo and said, "Let's go." After a while, Lu Han and the other three secretly left Konoha village. Hitachi Taishuo, Lu Han also brought Might Dai. All three have an obvious feature, that is, they are fast. At the same time, the northern part of the Rain Country. The daring Hanzo of Yigao brought only one person into the camp of the Iwagakure Corps. The person he brought was not an Omegakure ninja, but a Sunagakure Chiyo. War is like this, there are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Although Iwagakure fought with Sunagakure and Omegakure before, each with casualties, but at this time, Hanzo and Chiyo took the initiative to enter the Iwagakure camp, hoping that the two sides could let go of the estrangement. As early as 3 days ago, on the day Iwagakure dispatched troops, Onoki sent someone to deliver the letter first, so Hanzo and Chiyo were well prepared. Hanzo, Chiyo, and the commander-in-chief of the 3 generations of Iwagakure Corps, the 3 of them discussed closely in the Iwagakure Corps camp for a long time before they came up with a unified battle plan. After just 2 days, the 3 major armies of Iwagakure landed on the main battlefield and participated in a large-scale war. And White Fang and others also arrived in the Land of Rain. Konoha's army began to fight and retreat. Tsunade came up with a plan to retaliate with his own way, using poison on the sand, rain, and rock allied forces. On the west coast of the Land of Thunder, a 10-mile company. In the handsome tent, there is a strong atmosphere of war. The ninjas, old or young, are all sitting with big horses and golden swords. Not long ago, Laoi got the information from Iwagakure village and learned about the main battle in Iwagakure village. The Legion's all-out affair. Ha 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 ha, God is up to me. Our opportunity is here. Laoi laughed. Hengguang's information is very accurate. Only the garrison army is left in Iwagakure village. It's our turn to take action. Okay, Lord Hokage, I would like to lead the team to be the vanguard. The strong Iwagakure called for his order. This time we should fight a blitzkrieg and push as far as possible into the hinterland of the Land of the Land. We do not seek to occupy land, but only for money. If you can win the important town in the southeast of the Land of the Earth, then you can. All the Kumogakure ninjas are sharpening their knives, and there are many who want to be pioneers. At this time, a whirlwind rolled up around Laoi, and Lu Han, dressed in a black robe, appeared out of thin air. Chapter-722-Crazy Plan. There was some confusion in the handsome tent. Who? Be careful. Lord Rakage, be careful. Luhan came too suddenly and didn't say hello, causing the Iwagakure ninjas present to almost start. But Lao Ai didn't move, because when the whirlwind appeared, he felt Luhan's breath and knew who was coming. Although he was surprised, he would not have an overreaction. This is Mr. Hangguang from Konoha, don't be nervous. Lao Ai reminded him, raised his hand again, and motioned for the strong Kumogakure who had stood up to sit down. All the Kumogakure ninjas knew that it was the legendary Konoha Cold Light coming, and many of them showed awe. This is the most powerful person who can tie with the third generation of Rakage. Although they also have the name of the strong, they are much worse. I'm here to disturb you. Because there were other people around, Luhan's etiquette was in place, and he was relieved. Arrived just in time. Fortunately, Kumogakure has not yet entered the land of the land. If they have already left, they should be on the sea at this time. There are pioneers, the middle army, and the rear army. They must go separately. In the vast sea, Luhan wants to find Lao Ai. Very troublesome. Lao Ai looked at Luhan and couldn't help but feel weird. What is Han Guang doing at this time? Aren't you worried about the situation in the land of rain? Lao Ai didn't ask directly, but glanced at the other Kumogakure ninjas in the camp and said, go ahead and prepare, and I will make detailed arrangements later. Yes, Lord Rakage. All the Kumogakure ninjas got up and complied, and then they all left the camp. I have already received information about the situation in Iwagakure village. Lao Ai spoke first. I am going to move my troops westward and cross the sea to attack the land of the land. When Iwagakure village receives the information, I will definitely retreat. Quote. As an ally of Konoha, it is Kumogakure's duty to solve problems for Konoha. Lao Ai was talking to Luhan purely in the tone of a diplomatic negotiation. Well, good. Luhan nodded and said again, I knew you would do this, so I came here in a hurry. Are you going to? Lao Ai wondered. He still didn't understand, since Luhan thought about it. Then he came here not to urge Kumogakure to send troops, but what else could it be for? I want to go to the land of the earth with you. Luhan said. Lao Ai was suddenly shocked. His eyes were bright, and with Han Guang, the supreme power, joining him, Kurigakure could definitely advance all the way. But then, Lao Ai's face changed again, and he suddenly realized that Han Guang might have come to meet with Kumogakure for profit. Kumogakure was there to rob money. He didn't plan to occupy land. He would leave after robbing him, but Hangguang came to help him, and he would definitely benefit from him. How much should he get? I'm afraid it's not good. I'll take your mind, but you Konoha are in such a big trouble now, but you came to fight for our Kumogakure, this. Lao Ai said displeased, but then his face turned slightly changed. He feels wrong again. Hangguang due to Konoha. It doesn't directly solve Konoha's current troubles. After all, it takes time to transmit information. No matter how much Han Guang helps Kumogakure, Iwagakure will not retreat too quickly. For him to go straight to the land of rain and fight the Iwagakure Corps head-on. It's not what you think. I'm not here this time to help you conquer the land of the land. What's that for? I need your help. Me, help? Lao Ai was stunned for a moment, then frowned and shook his head. It was agreed before that our Kumogakure would not send troops to the country of rain. The distance is too far, and we have to pass through multiple countries, so it is very difficult for us to supply logistics. I said, I need your help, not the Iwagakure Corps. Luhan stared at Lao Ai's eyes. I'm going to attack the Iwagakure village. I hope you can go with me. What? Lao Ai stood up suddenly, looked at Luhan in disbelief, widened his eyes, as if he was looking at a lunatic. Dare to think. It's not a joke, otherwise I wouldn't rush here. The time is very tight, because even if Kumogakure doesn't enter the land of the land, it won't be long before Iwagakure will know that you are stationed on the border and know your intentions. Onoki will definitely order the legion retired from the rain country and turn to deal with you. So we only have 6 or 7 days at most. rush to Iwagakure, and fight the Blitz. My plan is, not only the two of us, you have to bring at least 10 Kumogakure ninjas with sufficient strength, and I also brought the two of us, Hatake Teishuo, my direct disciple, and Anbu, who is second only to White Fang in strength. A dozen of us, clenched our fists, and rushed all the way into the hinterland of Iwagakure village. My ultimate goal is the Iwagakure treasure house. If you leave, you can drop by to visit the land of the land, but the place where the land of the land is hidden is very hidden, and it is hidden separately. It will take a few days to find it, so this matter cannot be done. After Lu Han finished speaking, he looked at Lao Ai seriously. This is definitely not a joke. Lao Ai fell into silence and began to think about weighing the pros and cons. Lu Han's plan, when he heard it, was extremely crazy. It was a self-defeating act. But if you think about it carefully, it is really feasible. After all, the ultimate goal is not to destroy Iwagakure, but to loot the treasure house of Iwagakure. If you hit it, you will retreat without fighting to the death. If Lao Ai is alone, he dare not do this. Onoki is enough to check and balance him, plus a group of strongmen who stay behind Iwagakure. If they are besieged, he will die in it, but if there is a cold light. You should believe in my ability to find treasure troves. I robbed Kurigakure. This battle will never be too long. It will definitely be in the same night and out. Lu Han continued to Bewitched. When the time comes, we will split the money we have stolen. Quote. Half points. Lao Ai frowned and replied, we have a lot of people, why? You can choose 10 ninjas in this camp that you think are suitable for participating in this operation. If they can defeat the two I brought, you will be 7 and 3. Lu Han said directly, his tone extremely confident. It is impossible for the 10 people selected by Lao Ai to win. The strengths of Hatake Teishuo and Might Dai are both level 60 White Silver Boss. Cage levels are there in this camp. After all, it's the main battle core that fights, not special units or special operations. Lao Ai was silent again, he was still thinking. Chapter 0733-Raid on Iwagakure. Lao Ai didn't want to talk about the division, not to mention other people, just compared with Han Guang. He once lost to Han Guang, so this matter is not easy to argue. He mentioned the division before, just to say it casually. But, how to get it out? Lao Ai thought of another question. Even if he robbed the treasure house, how much can a dozen people get? Lu Han waved his hand directly, and a pile of golden bricks suddenly appeared on the conference table. Lu Han waved again, and those golden bricks were all taken back into the space backpack. Are the rumors true? Lao Ai's eyes suddenly lit up. There was a rumor that Cold Light Master Xiongguang Ninjutsu could bring a lot of things into another space. Because it was a rumor, no one dared to say whether it was true or not. The rumor is true. You should know that once the Iwagakure treasury is looted, it will be in your Kumogakure's best interests. Lu Han continued to Bewitched, I'm just taking some money to solve the current crisis, but you. Iwagakure lacks the financial foundation. There will inevitably be you or Iwagakure's worst enemy. And, if there is a chance to kill Onoki, then I'm done. Lao Ai shouted as he slapped the table, then suddenly stood up and shouted, notify all the elite Jonin to gather. Lao Ai agrees, he wants to choose someone. Elite Jonin. In fact, this world does not have super elite Jonin, Shadow Ninja or the like, which is divided by Lu Han himself, and for the rest of the world, all ninjas with elite Jonin or above strength, all are elite Jonin. Soon, dozens of elite Jonin, from the 3 Kumogakure Corps and out of the 8,000 ninjas gathered outside the handsome tent, most of them at level 40. These people were either squadron captains or brigade captains. The 50th level people are all senior figures from the major legions, and there are only a few people at the cage level. Generally speaking, the backbone of a large army is Chunin. Jonin is the core strength. There are not many Genins, most of them are juvenile ninjas, because not many adult ninjas will be Genins. No matter how bad their talents are, it is extremely unbelievable that they are still Genins in their 20s and 30s. Otherwise, Might Dai in the original book would not be called Eternal Genin, because no one knew he would be the 8 inner gates. he was too special. Standing next to Luhan looked at the dozens of elite Jonins, and had a rough estimate of how many elite Jonins Kumogakure had. The strength distribution of the regular legion is in a ladder state, and there will not be a situation where the strong get together. Kumogakure sent 8,000 ninjas. There should be 4,000 or 5,000 ninjas left in Kumogakure village. Among these 4,000 or 5,000 ninjas, the number of elite Jonin is definitely more than the 8,000. All accepted, as well. Luhan asked Lao Ai to choose 10. But Lao Ai only chose 8, all of which have a unified feature. In addition to being strong enough, they are also good at Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode. Good at Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode. In terms of speed, strength and defense, he surpasses other ninjas of the same level. Of course, his weaknesses are also obvious, that is, his ability is relatively simple, and his long-range attack ability is very poor. Because they are all orange names, Luhan can't see the strength level of these 8 people, but Luhan still knows the strength of 2 of Akatsuki, all of which have reached cage level. Because these 2 were in the handsome account before. After attending the meeting, when Luhan suddenly appeared, they thought Luhan was an assassin, and they all changed their name to Yuhi, showing information such as level. After the selection, Lao Ai held another secret meeting, and Luhan also attended. Lao Ai made more adequate arrangements, and the Kumogakure Legion still wanted to march into the land of the land, and drove straight in. This afternoon, Luhan, Lao Ai and other 12 people set foot on the wave first and headed straight for the land of the earth. An hour later, the 3 major legions set off, and the 8,000 ninjas officially entered the land of the land. As long as it is a ninja, even the lowest level genin can walk on the sea level, so rushing is not a problem, but at sea, you need to be good at repulsion at all times, and the consumption of chakra will be very large. Therefore, the Kumogakure 8,000 ninjas, the ninjas of the vanguard, will land on the ground after 3 or 4 days, while the middle and rear troops will take 5 or 6 days. On the endless sea, Luhan and Lao Ai walked side by side and ran fast, only to see 2 blue lightning flashes on the sea, with a tail behind them. Both of them were holding the chains with both hands. There were 4 chains in total, and they were carrying 10 people, including Hitaki Taishuo and Might Dai. All you need is speed. Sooner you get to Iwagakure village, the more time you will have and the easier it will be to achieve your goals. Time flies. After a day and a night. On the east coast of the land, the waves are rolling, and the ocean has a strong salty smell, but 2 blue thunderbolts with tails appear on the sea, and after a few breaths, they stop on the sand. Luhan gasped violently. Old Ai is the same. Running like this all day and night is really tiring, and no one has eaten. 5 hours of rest, Luhan said, and then everyone entered the grove and chatted under a shady tree. Luhan also took out food from the space quilt and distributed it to everyone. After everyone had eaten, they took turns taking a nap, and then set off on the road again. After arriving in the land of the land, the road is not easy to go. The land of the land is full of rocky mountains. This is the reason why the mighty Kumogakure is always unable to destroy the Iwagakure. The complexity of the land is far beyond other 4 countries. This is second, and the most important thing is that there are many Iwagakure scouts scattered in the land of the earth and cannot be discovered by them, because there is a creature in this world called flying ninja beasts, and all countries have small flying ninja beasts used to transmit information. So you have to hide. If you are discovered, you can't waste time on things like chasing and killing scouts. 33 hours later. Late at night. The hinterland of the land, the village of Iwagakure. The huge ninja village has sparse lights, and on a half-moon night, although the light is not strong, it is not dark. A few kilometers to the north, more than a dozen figures appeared on the bare rocky mountain, staring at the village of Iwagakure. Chapter-734-Investigate. Iwagakure Village, known as the most difficult ninja village to break. There is no other reason. Naturally, it is because of the rocky mountains around Iwagakure Village. Iwagakure village is surrounded by natural dangers and is easy to defend and difficult to attack. It is extremely difficult for a large army to break into Iwagakure village. Therefore, from the beginning of Iwagakure village to the present, for more than 10 years, it has never been attacked. However, for the strong, natural danger is not dangerous, the terrain is not important, the important thing is the attribute. For example, in the sea, it is the home of the Kurigakure ninja, and ninjas who are good at sweet and water style have an advantage, while in the forest, the trees it can burn and fuel the fire, which is more beneficial for Konoha ninjas or ninjas who are good at Kaiden fire style. It's a waste to give control to Iwagakure village in such a country. Lao Ai said in a low voice, out of anger, for some reason. Luhan glanced at Lao Ai strangely, but saw Lao Ai slammed a punch on the side of the rock wall, and he was immediately relieved. Lao Ai is greedy. He is greedy for the mines of the land of the earth. There is almost no crop trade in Iwagakure village, but because of the Gobi rock mountains everywhere, there are many veins, and many mines also produce gems. The economy of the country of thunder is not weak, but due to the impact of the small population, it has developed to the ultimate, which is why Lao Ai has the idea of playing the country of soil. It's all about money. Ninja looks aloof, but after all, he is still working hard for money, even for a superpower like Lao Ai. Someone is here, Luhan said suddenly. 12 people disappeared one after another on the Rocky Mountain. A few minutes later, a small group of Iwagakure ninjas patrolled here, stopped for a while, and then left. When they were far away, Luhan and the others reappeared on the mountain. This place is a little bit below the mountain wall. There is an extra small platform. It is slender and only more than 1 meter wide. It extends on both sides. It is a curved mountain road. Behind it is the mountain wall. It's a good hiding place. If the patrolling Iwagakure ninjas don't get close, it's hard to see anyone here, and the rock wall will block their sight. 2 hours later, it will be dawn. Lao Ai looked up at the position of the moon, and then looked at Iwagakure village. Now is a good time to start. People are the most tired at this time, and most of the ninjas in Iwagakure village are there sleeping. Not good. Luhan shook his head. We ran all the way, and we were all very tired. The last time we ate, we didn't sleep 15 hours ago, and we didn't know much about the layout of Iwagakure village. Let alone the location of the treasure house, it will take time to investigate and determine. Quote. Yeah, Lao Ai responded and nodded immediately. Luhan was right, but he was too impatient. Let's wait another day. We will start tomorrow night. Luhan said again. Rest well first, make adequate preparations, there is still plenty of time, the Iwagakure Legion is still in the land of rain, even if they get the news right away. Go back, Pioneer, it will take 3 days for the army to come back. Quote. Are you going to investigate? Lao Ai looked at Luhan and asked. I'm going. Luhan nodded. This was the best thing for him to do, and Lao Ai didn't have any special abilities to hide and sneak in. But we'll have to wait until the sun rises. Now let's go to rest and go. A group of people found a hiding place where they could sleep and rest in Yamanaka, dozens of kilometers away from Iwagakure village. This place should be absolutely safe. The daily patrol range of Iwagakure ninjas is as far as 10 kilometers away from Iwagakure village. Is far from impossible. The village of Iwagakure has never been attacked. Even if Onoki broke his head, he would never have imagined that Luhan would dare to do so. Therefore, a large patrol area is unnecessary for the village of Iwagakure. 9 hours later. At noon, the sun is shining brightly. The climate of the land is very dry. After the wind blows during the day, the rock and sand will be filled with the wind, making the sky always gray. Iwagakure village is very lively with people coming and going. After so many years of Ninja World War, Iwagakure village still maintains a small-scale foreign trade, mainly because it is too safe here, and safe businessmen are not afraid of encountering danger here. Gem business can be said to be extremely profitable, and the merchants who come to Iwagakure village are basically gem merchants. However, Iwagakure village is afraid of spies, and has also imposed restrictions on this. Every businessman entering and leaving Iwagakure village will be subject to extremely strict identity checks. It is not an old businessman who has been in business for many years, and he does not want to enter Iwagakure village. Luhan did not disguise himself as a businessman or businessman's entourage to enter Iwagakure village, because it would be very troublesome. Once he did, even if he got in by chance, he would be watched all the time. As long as he suddenly disappeared, Iwagakure village would immediately sound the alarm. Luhan to enter Iwagakure village is very simple, just sneak in. With his strength, coupled with the assistance of the insight map, it is easy to do it. In the village of Iwagakure, in an ordinary house. Come and eat. Wash your hands are so dirty. Go and call your brother. Wow, it smells so good. The house was full of aroma, and the family of 4 started a quiet lunch after a loud noise. Luhan stood in the darkness at the corner of the stairs, watching them without saying a word. It was naturally impossible for 4 ordinary people to find Luhan. Speaking of the most convenient place to hide in Iwagakure village, it is naturally a private house. After Luhan sneaked into Iwagakure village, he hid in a private house near the bustling city of Iwagakure village. This location is very good. Here, Luhan opened the insight map. After that, most of the Iwagakure village will be under surveillance. Luhan watched them for a while, and determined that they would have to eat for a while, so he went upstairs quietly, leaned against the corner of the 2nd floor, and opened the insight map. There are nearly 2,000 Yuhi points in the insight map. The strongest is the level 60 white silver boss, named Waho, and his identity is the captain of Iwagakure Anbu. Iwagakure Anbu is very mysterious, so Konoha doesn't have too much information from Master Iwagakure Anbu, but Kumogakure, because he has been at war with Iwagakure for many years. The reconnaissance efforts are not generally large, and he knows more, but Kumogakure and Konoha did not share historical information. This, Waho, Luhan recalled very carefully, but did not think of any information about him. Iwagakure is too close to communicate with the outside world. It turned out to be a level 60 white silver, it's quite strong. Luhan said in a letter, and began to observe the movement pattern of Yuhi's point through the insight map. Chapter 0735-4 Suspect Locations. Insight map does not show the location of Onoki. On the one hand, it is because Luhan's insight map has not covered the entire Iwagakure village, and his location is still a bit biased. On the other hand, Onoki is not necessarily on the surface. But Luhan was sure that Tsuchikajinoki, the 3rd generation, must be in the village of Iwagakure. The shadows of the 5 major ninja villages, except for a militant like Lao Ai, the shadows of the other 4 major ninja villages will not easily leave the ninja village. One is to form a deterrent to prevent the ninja village from being attacked, and the second is that the ninja village is the intelligence center. The shadow sits in the town of Ninja Village for easy command. Luhan has the ability to never forget, so he relies on the insight map to remember in a very short period of time how many Iwagakure ninjas are patrolling, which places are heavy troops stationed, which ones are silent sentries, and most importantly, when did they change guards. When the family of 4 in this residential house finished lunch, Luhan also left here. The news was silent. Luhan changed his position again. It was also a private residence, but it was a dusty warehouse. His previous insight map, the monitoring covered about 70% of the area of Iwagakure village, and the remaining 30% of the area. After changing locations, Luhan also entered the monitoring range of the insight map. After half an hour, west of Iwagakure village, in a dark alley, Luhan appeared in the corner and looked out with his head. There was a back street outside the Hutong entrance. It was a very cold street, and there were no people. The most eye-catching were 2 yellow dogs chasing. Glancing out a few times, Luhan flashed across the street and into the gutter across the street. Luhan was conducting a field inspection. Insight into the map could only allow Luhan to judge some things, but he could not be sure immediately. This is different from Kurigakure village. When Luhan was in Kurigakure village, he could easily find the location of the treasure house. That was because the Konoha master Lu Han speculated on the basis of the large amount of information from Kurigakure. Iwagakure. It's so closed. Everything was unfamiliar to Lu Han. 3 in the afternoon. Yamanaka, 40 kilometers from Iwagakure village, is in a dimly lit cave. Why haven't you come back? It's been 3 hours. Lao Ai stood at the entrance of the cave and looked out, frowning. Beside him stood a majestic man who was nearly 50 years old. He was only a little lower than Lao Ai, but his body had a stronger sense of strength. His muscles were angular, and there were babies in the stretched blood vessels of his neck and arms. The thickness of the little finger. This person's name is Kanyi, and he is the commander of the 3rd Legion of Iwagakure village. Among the 8 people brought by Lao Ai, he is the strongest. Kanghuang was born in Konoha Anbu, and Grandmaster sneaked in spies. I don't think there will be any accidents. Kanyi said, but also frowned. Maybe, the situation in Iwagakure village is more complicated than we thought. He hasn't come out for so long, only because the location of the treasure house has not yet been found. Quote. As soon as Kanyi's voice fell, a figure flashed outside the cave. Lu Han. Come here, it's a little troublesome. Lu Han said quickly and hurriedly entered the cave. Everyone gathered around Lu Han. Lu Han's space backpack had everything in it. First, he took out a piece of muslin, 2 meters long and 2 meters wide, gray and white, and then took out a pen and began to draw on the muslin. It was a detailed topographical map of Iwagakure village. Lu Han drew it very carefully, and even briefly sketched the houses. After Lu Han only drew for an hour and a half, Lao Ai looked at Lu Han with strange eyes. Pervert's memory. In just 10 minutes, Lu Han drew the detailed topography, and then drew circles on the 4 positions on the topographic map. On the far west side of Iwagakure village, at the foot of a double-pointed rocky hill. In the middle of the village of Iwagakure, a rock fortress. Southwest of the village of Iwagakure, at the foot of a strangely shaped rock. South of Iwagakure village, a 13-story round Jinchuriki column body stone building. These 4 positions were specially marked by Lu Han. These 4 places, Lao Aichi questioned. I can't determine the real location of the treasure house. These 4 places are very suspicious. Lu Han said, this is the reason why he came back slowly. The military layout in Iwagakure village is very strange. These 4 places are either heavily armed, or there are several strong people living nearby, plus a large number of secret whistle. Lu Han repeatedly investigated and concluded that these 4 places may be treasure houses. Here, 3 battalions of nearly 500 people are stationed on the side. And here, Iwagakure Anbu is leading the deployment of patrol defense. Here I have observed the longest. I have seen a defense change. There are 2 Jonin and Elite Jonin squads from come out of the building, and switch to the other 2 teams with the same configuration. Laozi and the commander of the Iwagakure garrison are here. Lu Han explained the situation in all 4 positions, and finally said, in general, the number of ninjas here is the largest. Lu Han put his hand on the position of the odd-shaped rock mountain and looked up at everyone. Everyone frowned, and they couldn't understand why Iwagakure village was so arranged. In a ninja village, apart from the treasure house, where else could there be such a place that needs special care? After all, for a ninja village, the entire village is extremely important, and the treasure house is the top priority. Only you dived in to see it yourself. Where do you think it is most likely to be a treasure trove? Lao Ai looked at Lu Han and asked. It's the place with the most troops. Lu Han continued, because there are not only many ninjas there, but also easy to defend and difficult to attack. Then hit here. Lao Ai said directly, since Iwagakure is arranged like this, it is difficult for us to judge the real treasure house, so we might as well hit it directly. After all, it is a heavily guarded place by Iwagakure, and there must be something important in it. Quote. What Lao Ai said is not that he has no brains to try his luck, but that under the current circumstances, he can no longer do more and more detailed investigations, and there is not so much time. Must play tonight. Lu Han shook his head and lowered his voice subconsciously. Actually, we have a better way, we can do this. 8 hours later. Late at night, the village of Iwagakure is sparsely lit and dimly lit. Boom _ A roar, lightning flashed, and the 2 rock sentry towers at the north entrance of Iwagakure village were directly destroyed. Onoki, get out. Lao Ai's roar sounded like thunder. Chapter-736-Night Raid. Lao Ai appeared directly from the north of Iwagakure village and was forced into it. Because the attack was too sudden, many Iwagakure ninjas died in their dreams and were buried alive by the collapsed stone building. Iwagakure village is not good at this point. The houses are all made of stone. Even a ninja will be killed by a collapsed house if he is caught off guard. Konoha doesn't have this problem. They are all wooden houses. Even if they are smashed and buried, they can still survive. Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode Lao Ai. Like the legendary Thor, the lightning flashing on his body is extremely dazzling. In the dark night, he is like a beacon. Onoki, get out, Lao Su is going to kill you. Lao Ai roared again, and at the same time Flash rushed to the bottom of the round Jinchuriki, column-shaped tower not far from the entrance of the village, and gave a fierce blow with Chong Lu Bao. Rumbling _ Lao Ai rushed into the rock tower, knocked out from the other side, and penetrated directly. Rumbling rumble, the rock towers began to collapse, and the earth shook violently. Nearby Iwagakure village did not dare to approach Lao Ai. They did not lack the courage to fight, but they knew too well who Lao Ai was. As long as those Chunin genins were not hot-headed and without effective organizational command, it would be difficult for them to immediately confront Lao Ai. Ai fights back. They also all understand that with their strength, there is no difference between fighting Lao Ai and dying. Of course, some ninjas didn't do it because they were already scared. However, this is the village of Iwagakure after all, and it is full of masters. Doden Earth Style Art of Heavy Rock. Doden Earth Style Bunker. 2 Iwagakure Jonins appeared near Ai and simultaneously activated ninjutsu. One jumped up with both hands up. Doden Earth Style Chakra formed a boulder with a diameter of more than 10 meters on his hands. The ground under Ai's feet was directly violent, and at the same time as the rock thorns attacked upwards, there were also rocks the size of human heads flying up and attacking Lao Ai. Lao Ai didn't hide, and rushed directly to the ninja of Iwagakure village who was going to hit him with a boulder. But seeing Li Guang rushing, the rock thorn will shatter directly when it hits it, the human headstone will shatter when it hits it, and even the huge rock that came from the blast will explode when it is in contact with Li Guang. Lao Ai approached the Iwagakure ninja and punched him hard. The Iwagakure ninja flew out like a cannonball, like a rag pocket flying in the sky. The north entrance of Iwagakure village is the only entrance and exit of Iwagakure village. There is a terrain where one husband is the gatekeeper and 10,000 people are not open. If an enemy army comes to attack Iwagakure village, it must go here. The other directions are mountains, which are not suitable for army operations. There are thousands of people stationed near the north entrance, which are divided into 2 camps, one on the left and one on the right, and many of them exist at cage level. Assemble here. Quick. Ninjutsu. Don't go near him. In the chaos, the commander's voice was clearly audible. Captain-level ninjas from Iwagakure village began to organize attacks on Lao Ai. At the same time, 20 or 30 ninjas with the strength of Jonin and above appeared, including 2 who stepped into the area. The existence of cage level. Futon Wind Style Crazy Rolling Sand. Doden Earth Style 1000 Shots. Doden Earth Style Rockfall Art. All kinds of attacks came one after another, and Lao Ai also knew that being under siege would be very bad for him. His Raiden Thunder Style armor is known as the strongest shield, but it means that no attack ninjutsu can be easily broken. It is 1, no 100. 1,000. It is impossible for Lao Ai's defense to resist hundreds or thousands of attacks at the same time. Therefore, Lao Ai never stays in one place for too long. He is rushing back and forth to kill and destroy. Killing is secondary, but destroying is the main thing. No one can stop him. He will smash wherever he goes. Compared to when Sen Luo came to Konoha, a Mokuden wood style, exploded half a Konoha. Lao Ai, because he is a taijutsu ninja, has no group attack, so he can only run back and forth. One rock tower after another collapsed in the thunder. In just a few minutes, Lao Ai smashed about 1/3 of the northern area of Iwagakure village into rubble, and killed hundreds of ninjas, including a cage level existence. The ninja injured by him are even more than 300 or 400. However, as time went on, Lao Ai's situation began to become difficult. Because some of the older generation of strongmen from Iwagakure village came, and there were several battalions of Iwagakure ninjas, the number of enemies that Lao Ai faced, from the initial thousands to now, has nearly 2,000. Among them, cage level has as many as 5. You are courting death. Onoki came, and flickering appeared on the ruins not far from Lao Ai, looking at Lao Ai with tears in his eyes. In fact, he was dumbfounded. He didn't understand, why did the third generation of Reikage come here? How dare you come to attack Iwagakure? Onoki was still doing business in the Iwagakure dungeon just now, and when he heard the report, he couldn't believe his ears. Madman! Ha 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 ha, Onoki, why did you come here? I thought you were going to be a tortoise. Lao Ai laughed wildly. The ground kept cracking, and in a dangerous environment with endless attacks, Lao Ai was still moving at high speed and couldn't stop. If it stops, he will be surrounded. A large group of elite Jonin will play A-level S-level ninjutsu, and he will not be able to carry it. Come on, let's fight outside. Let's fight for life and death. Come if you can. Ha 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 ha. Lao Ai doesn't talk nonsense. He doesn't explain to Onoki why he came, let Onoki guess for himself. With wild laughter, Lao Ai ran out of Iwagakure village. In this case, Onoki had to be chased. This was his responsibility as Tsuchikage. Everyone was hitting the door. Many people died in Iwagakure village. At this point, Onoki has two options. One is to chase alone. He is no weaker than Lao Ai, and he is not afraid of Lao Ai alone, but it is a little difficult to win. The second is, lead people to chase. Kill Ai. Onoki chose the latter, and he was going mad. Kang, Kemu, Hengyan, come with me. Onoki ordered the names of 6 people in a row, all of whom were strong men with names and surnames in Iwagakure village, 2 of them from the older generation. The Iwagakure 6 went after Onoki. Lao Ai felt that there were 7 auras chasing behind him, and couldn't help feeling overjoyed. This is the best result. Not only was Onoki drawn out of Iwagakure, but some strong people were also taken away. In this way, Luhan and others would act more easily. Chapter-737-Odd Mountain. There was also a dispute. Who should deal with Onoki? Although Onoki is not the opponent of the 2 teaming up, but Onoki is not stupid, Luhan and I team up. Onoki can call all the strong Iwagakure. Dozens of people fight 2 people, such a fight. Luhan and Lao Ai are not at all opponent. And after doing this, who is going to rob the treasure house? Except for Lao Ai and Luhan, the others really don't necessarily have the ability to break through the barriers and enter the treasure house. In fact, Lao Ai wanted Luhan to deal with Onoki. He went to rob the treasury, and then Luhan would pick him up again, but there is a problem with this, that is, only Luhan can take away the treasures, only he has the space backpack. Therefore, the final result of the discussion was that Lao Ai was responsible for leading Onoki away, and Luhan was responsible for robbing the treasure house. As long as Onoki is not in Iwagakure village lacks a top decision maker and cannot immediately issue orders on many key matters, which will make it easier for Luhan and others to achieve their goals. Lao Ai ran all the way. With his speed, he could get rid of Onoki and escape, but he couldn't, so he didn't reach the fastest speed. More than 10 minutes later, 30 kilometers north of Iwagakure village, the Gobi was desolate. The wind was whistling, and the dust was rolling, but when I saw the blue thunder flashing, it suddenly stopped and turned into a tall and sturdy figure. Lao Ai stopped, turned around and looked at Onoki and the others who were chasing, with a proud look on his face. Onoki stopped 200 meters away from Lao Ai, and behind him were 6 Iwagakure strong men. How much benefit did Hengguang give you? Let you come willing to die. Huh, Onoki sneered, you work so hard for Hengguang, so it's hard to tell if you spread it out. Are you Kumogakure, a vassal of Konoha? Onoki could only think of that. We're not driven by big interests. It would be impossible for Raikage 3 to risk attacking Iwagakure village, and this big profit must come from Konoha village. Although the time was a little off, and Lao Ai arrived too quickly, it seemed that there was only one explanation. Stop talking nonsense. Lao Ai didn't say a word. He understood the truth that if you talk too much, he would not argue with Onoki. Let us fight. Onoki, if you want some face, just fight with me alone. I will accompany you to the end. Today is either your death or my death. Lao Ai is not stupid. Being besieged is dangerous, that's why he proposed a heads up. Onoki stared at Lao Ai, and he was very angry. This anger came not only from Lao Ai's surprise attack on Iwagakure village, but also from the hatred that Iwagakure and Kumogakure had accumulated over the years. At the same time, Onoki also understood that once he was surrounded by people and besieged Lao Ai would probably hide or even run away. Compared to speed, no one here is faster than Lao Ai. As a supreme power, Onoki also has his own dignity, so in this case, besieging Lao Ai is not a good idea. If the forced Lao Ai runs away, the gains outweigh the losses, and Iwagakure's face will be lost. For Onoki is that he does not have to worry about his own death. Even if he is seriously injured, he can be escorted away immediately, but Lao Ai has no such advantage. Once Lao Ai is seriously wounded, Onoki can have people join hands and kill him. You stand back. Onoki made a decision, raising his hand and gesturing behind him. Lao Ai showed a veiled smile, and suddenly his whole body burst out, pointing to the sky with his hand as a knife, and then slashing to the ground. Raiden Thunder style, the technique of superposition of thunder and lightning. Boom, boom. Lao Ai performed some flashy ninjutsu, but saw a huge thunder falling from the sky, along Lao Ai's palm, driven by Lao Ai's hand knife, and bombarded the ground. The ground suddenly burst into a crack, which quickly extended towards Onoki. Onoki dodged easily by jumping. Iwagakure village, the lights are bright, ninjas are running everywhere. Iwagakure village has entered a state of highest alert. West of the village, on the high mountains outside the village. Lu Hanyao looked to the north, and when he saw the thunder falling, he knew that Lao Ai had stopped Onoki, and immediately waved his hands and shouted, "Go!" Lu Han, Might Dai, and the 8 Kumogakure powerhouses all ran down the mountain. And appear dispersed. Lu Han disappeared halfway. During the daytime investigation, Lu Han discovered 4 suspicious locations, namely Shuangjian Mountain, Rock Fortress, Odd-Shaped Mountain, and Jinchuriki column-shaped stone building. Lao Ai once proposed to attack the most suspected odd-shaped mountain, but Lu Han rejected it. Lu Han's suggestion is to fight. At the foot of the odd-shaped mountain, the terrain is steep, a brigade of ninjas has blocked the entrance of the cave at the foot of the mountain, and 2 other brigade are on standby in the 2 camps on both sides. Behind the rockery 300 meters away from the entrance of the cave, Lu Han appeared out of thin air in the darkness. Here is a Horaishinkanai that he placed during the day, not only here, but also near the other 3 suspected locations. As soon as Lu Han appeared, his whole body shone with lightning, entered Raiden Thunder style, chakra mode, turned into blue lightning and went straight to the hole. Enemy attack. Come on. The shrill screams resounded through the night, and Lu Han rushed into the ninja group stationed in front of the cave entrance. The sword light was like rain, and the Iwagakure ninja attacked Lu Han almost at the same time. The ground cracked, the rock thorn attacked, and the wind blade whistled. More than 100 people are not enough for Lu Han to kill. Even if they are good at Doden Earth-style defense, Lu Han can hack them all to death in a few minutes. At present, most of the ninjas in Iwagakure village have not withdrawn from the north of Iwagakure village. In the 3 directions of the west, south and east of Iwagakure village, all the ninjas together are less than 1,000 people, and there are 500 people at the foot of the odd-shaped mountain. Lu Han attacked the Iwagakure brigade at the entrance of the cave. Ninjas from the other two brigade also came and surrounded Lu Han. After rushing back and forth for a few minutes, Lu Han's situation became a little difficult, but it was only difficult. He couldn't lose to these people, and he couldn't die. Insight map shows that chaos has occurred in the other three suspected locations. Apparently Might Die and others also launched the attack. It's almost there, Lu Han said in his heart, stepping forward with one hand, triggering the Ring of 10,000 techniques. Futon Wind Style, the Art of Flower Rain Cutting. Chapter-721 Cage Level Old Purple. Huge lotus flowers bloomed in front of the odd-shaped mountain, and countless wind blades swept all around. Lu Han, who was surrounded by a heavy siege, was suddenly empty. Because the attack came too suddenly, there was no sign, so most Iwagakure ninjas were unprepared. S-rank ninjutsu is blooming, and more than 100 lives are harvested almost instantly. Others with a longer distance either blocked the attack with ninjutsu, or avoided it, but they were also injured. The secret of Lu Han's Ring of Wanshu has never been exposed, and the technique of cutting flowers and rain is not Lu Han's signature ninjutsu, so no one can judge Lu Han's identity based on this. Many Iwagakure ninjas are in fear. They will ask, this Kumogakure ninja will futon wind style. Yes, they thought Lu Han was a Kumogakure ninja. Because Lu Han is using Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode. The instant S-rank ninja surgery, Lu Han's pressure was relieved a lot. Coupled with the life he had previously harvested with a knife, there were only more than 200 Iwagakure ninjas left around him. However, the insight map also reminded Lu Han that the 2,000 Iwagakure ninjas in the north had discovered the situation and rushed to the location where they were attacked. At least 400 people rushed to Kixing Mountain. Hundreds of ninjas would not pose much threat to Lu Han, but the key point is that among these hundreds of ninjas, there are strong ones. Forbearance. This is the most troublesome. Lu Han didn't retreat immediately, but was still rushing back and forth, reaping his life. 2 minutes later, 7 cyclones appeared around Lu Han at the same time, and then, in a larger circle, more than 20 cyclones appeared further away. Nearly 30 ninjas have appeared one after another. Lu Han glanced at him, and the closest to him turned out to be a level 60 gold boss, an old guy with all white hair. Hit! The old Iwagakure ninja shouted when he appeared. 30 ninjas hand seal at the same time, using various methods. They launched attacks almost in no particular order. Goodbye everyone. The attack was overwhelming, and Lu Han actually disappeared. Under the double-pointed rock mountain, Kimin Might Die led 2 Kumogakure super elite Jonin, and they were fighting against Laozi and other strong men. Laozi and other 4 strong men besieged Kimin Might Die, the two sides stalemate, and the 2 Kumogakure ninjas it seems like entering a land of no one. Rushing back and forth in a large group of Iwagakure ninjas, the speed of killing is not fast, and Taiju ninjas cannot quickly harvest life. Fortunately, they are all in Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode, and the defense is amazing, otherwise, there may be casualties. When Lu Han was investigating in the daytime, the commander of the Iwagakure garrison army, the cage-level powerhouse, Art, was here, but because Lao I killed him from the north gate not long ago, Art was also attracted. Damn, why are these guys so difficult to deal with? Might Die was very anxious. In fact, with his strength, it was easy to beat Laozi and others, but there was one premise, that is, he made a big move. Lu Han didn't let him use his ultimate move, which would shorten his burst time. Because of this, Might Die stalemate with them, but this is a disadvantage for him, because more Iwagakure ninjas will come soon. If there are a few more super elites, he will be finished. Call. Lu Han appeared out of thin air on the battlefield of Shuangjianshan, where there is the Hiraishin Kunai he released during the day. It's okay. Lu Han was relieved to see that the situation was not bad. Iwagakure 4-tailed man Jinchuriki, column power, level 60 bronze boss, purple. The strength is very strong. Lu Han was very fortunate to see Laozi's strength. Fortunately, Laozi at this time was only able to borrow some four-tailed chakra, and he could not perform ninjutsu with the four-tailed, and could not enter the four-tailed state. The strength is incomparable to the original. After Lu Han entered the battlefield, the situation that Laozi and others were barely able to maintain collapsed. After Lu Han chopped up a few trash fish, he joined Might Dai to meet Laozi. If I cut him, if the four tails are released, will they go berserk? Thoughts flashed through Lu Han's mind, but Lu Han did not show mercy. Yoden, lava style, chakra mode. Laozi has high temperature lava all over his body. Not only is his defense amazing, but his attack ability is also very pervert. When he steps on the ground, the soil and rocks under his feet will be melted. When fighting against Might Dai, Laozi didn't dare to approach Might Dai, because Kamendai's imposing manner was too amazing, with both hands and feet moving at high speed with flames, enough to compete with the lava on him. He knew that he would be blasted by Might Dai at close range, so he kept releasing ninjutsu attacks. After Lu Han appeared, he noticed it immediately, because Lu Han's breath was too strong, even more than the guy with fire in his hands and feet. When Lu Han rushed towards him, he was even more surprised and retreated. But I saw that a thin figure wearing a mask with lightning flashing all over his body rushed in. The figure of the whole body of lava retreated, and at the same time hand seal. Yoden, lava style, the art of burning river rock. Old Z spit out magma balls like a cannonball. Lu Han knew the power of this technique. Since his Raiden thunder style chakra mode is only LV3, it is easy to be broken, so he chose to dodge, move back and forth, and approach in a Z shape. Old purple. Protect Master Z. Quick. Stop him. Surrounded by screens, this group of ninjas who fought with Laozi seemed to have received orders to ensure his safety at a critical moment. When Laozi was in danger, they gave up the enemy in front of them at the same time and rushed towards Lu Han. Tisk tisk, four-tailed Jinchuriki, column power, life is precious. Lu Han made a strange voice mockingly, but he gave up chasing Laozi and instead attacked the surrounding ninjas. Lu Han still has many powerful methods that are useless. He can completely rush over and kill Laozi. But he can't do that, that would reveal his identity. According to his plan, he must not reveal his identity now, otherwise all Iwagakure ninjas will know that the cold light is coming, and he will definitely be under siege like never before, which will disrupt the plan. Lu Han, Might Dai, and two Kumogakure super elites joined forces to kill the quartet. It was a one-sided massacre. However, as more and more Iwagakure ninjas arrived, the pressure on the four of them was increasing. Lu Han's face suddenly changed drastically. The insight map shows that the Rock Fortress battlefield, 3 teammates blew, 2 disappeared one after another. Chapter-721-740 Jinchuriki column force. According to Lu Han's assignment, he attacked Kixing Mountain alone. Might Dai led 2 Kumogakure Ultra Elites to attack Shuangjian Mountain. Kumogakure Cage level strong. Kan Yi led 2 Ultra Elites to attack the round Jinchuriki column tower. Kumogakure Cage level strong. The leader, Lurka, led 2 Kumogakure Ultra Elites to attack the rock fort. There is also Hatake Teishuo, whose mission is very special. He needs to roam outside the village of Iwagakure, robbing and killing ninjas who report to Onoki. On the whole, the task assigned to Lu Han was the most dangerous, because he not only wanted to attack Kixing Mountain alone, but also to support other battlefields, but Hatake Teishuo had the heaviest task. He can't go wrong. Once he didn't stop him, let some ninja break through his blockade and report to Onoki, and Onoki would definitely come back immediately. At that time, with Onoki's wisdom, he would definitely think that Lao Ai deliberately led him out. What's the matter? 2 people died so quickly. Lu Han was a little stunned. Iwagakure ninja in charge of guarding the rock fortress is Iwagakure Anbu. Is the Anbu ninja strong? Is strong. But Anbu ninjas are not suitable for frontal combat. They are experts in assassination and spying, and Anbu has special features and a small number of people. Lorca is cage level. Strength is level 60 bronze. Along with him are 2 level 50 gold bosses. If you let them kill people, Their speed of killing is definitely not fast, but if you say being killed. How could 3 ninjas who are good at speed, strength, and defense die so fast in Raiden Thunder style chakra mode? Who's where? Luhan noticed the big Yuhi's name. It was a level 60 gold boss named Diane. It was the old man who rushed to the foot of the strange-shaped mountain and attacked Luhan before. He was the strongest existence among the older generation of Iwagakure. Commander, famous in the ninja world. One thing worth mentioning is that the older generation of Iwagakure's powerhouses are far less powerful than the older generation of other ninja villages. In the original book, Onoki was like this. He was 70 or 80 years old and his fighting power exploded. The same is true for this big rock. I didn't detect him during the day. He is the strongest now. Luhan thought. Suddenly his expression was shocked. Whoa, it's him. Luhan thought of Whoa. Captain Iwagakure Anbu. It was the big Yuhi spot that Luhan detected during the day. Whoa is also a level 60 gold boss. It is estimated that his strength is a little worse than Diane, and Diane only came out at night, so he was replaced. With the strength of a level 60 gold boss, as long as the opportunity is right, it is not a problem to quickly kill 2 Kumogakure super elites who are good at speed and defense. Even if there is a Loka restraint, it is useless. The one who gets killed can't always be a level 60 bronze Lorca, the powerful boss, right? Although the level 60 gold boss is 2 levels stronger than the level 60 bronze, you must know that all ninjas who are good at defense are extremely difficult to kill. I still remember that in the battlefield of the country of Vortex, the level 60 elite Hyuga Hiyong, in order to cover the retreat of Tsunade, who was still a super elite, and others, he held the level 60 white-silver boss Boiling Rain alone. And the 7 ninja swordsmen of Mist. In the end, Hyuga Hiyong did not die in battle, but was captured because of the poor chakra. The battlefield of Shuangjianshan, more and more Iwagakure ninjas came, and the advantages of Luhan and others were getting smaller and smaller, but they could still come and go freely. You go to the number 4 target point. Luhan shouted and then disappeared. Go, Might Dai shouted, and after breaking alone, let the other 2 Kumogakure ninjas evacuate first. Target point number 4 is the circular Jinchuriki column tower. The 3 teammates Lan were still there, and Luhan asked Might Dai to go for reinforcements, so that there would be 6 powerhouses. Even if there were reinforcements from Iwagakure over there, they could hold on for a while longer. The Rock Fortress Battlefield. The death of the 2 companions made Loka go berserk, but saw his whole body flashing with thunder, turning into blue lightning, and attacking the Iwagakure Anbu ninja while avoiding the terrifying existence with all his strength. Roka has survived until now by relying entirely on his speed advantage, but he can't hold on for long, because he uses chakra to the limit, and the speed of chakra consumption is frighteningly fast. Luhan appeared on the edge of the battlefield out of thin air, and then his eyes widened. Dozens of Anbu ninjas from Iwagakure village and more than 100 Iwagakure garrison ninjas were arranging formations on the battlefield, preparing to trap Loka, who was flickering with lightning. Because of the previous battle, the terrain here became a bit complicated, high and low. Uneven. Loka is running wildly, attacking very little, and evading most of the time. It's like running for your life. And behind Lorca, there is always a monster chasing. The information displayed on the top of this monster's head is exactly Kumogakurinbu's Captain Waho, but his appearance is Yuhi light shone all over his body, as if he was wearing Yuhi-colored armor, and 5 tails swayed behind him. Tailed Beast. Waho is the 5-tailed Jinchuriki column force. The 5-tailed Jinchuriki column force mentioned in the original book was born in the village of Iwagakure, but not Waho, but named Ban. Ban is known as the Steam Ninja. He is strong and often wears Yuhi-colored armor. His strength is terrible and he is good at taijutsu. Waho and Ban are definitely not the same person. Because in this world, it's only 35 years of Konoha, the class in the original book should have been born not long ago. That is to say, Waho is the generation of 5-tailed Jinchuriki column force before the class. I really didn't expect that Woohoo was hidden so deeply. Luhan has never seen accurate information about the five-tailed Jinchuriki column power in Konoha Anbu, because the five-tailed Jinchuriki column power has not appeared for more than 10 years, and there are even rumors that Iwagakure has lost the five-tailed, let the five tails run away. Luhan finally understood why the two Kumogakure super elites were quickly killed. Because the tailed beast-shaped Wahoo also has a very terrifying speed and strength. The speed is enough to catch up with the Kumogakure Ultra Elite, and the strength is enough to break the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode of the Kumogakure Ultra Elite. It is strange that the two are not dead. This guy, he has completely turned into a beast. Luhan murmured, suddenly put away the knife, and then put his hands together. The light soared into the sky and quickly condensed. Susanoo. Chapter 0740 The cold light has come. Luhan must take action against Wahoo, otherwise Luoka will die here. After killing Luoka, he will definitely go to support the battlefield of the round Jinchuriki column tower, and Luhan will have to fight him sooner or later. And with Wahoo's strength, if Luhan wanted to defeat him, he had to reveal a lot of abilities and thus reveal his identity. In this case, Luhan simply revealed his identity directly and used Susanoo to beat the Wu-tailed Wahoo, which is considered to look down on him. Height of 70 to 80 meters appeared on the edge of the battlefield. Wahoo stopped chasing Loka directly, and the other Iwagakure ninjas also noticed the terrifying chakra fluctuation and turned around to look. Lorca took the opportunity to kill another person, broke through the encirclement and headed straight for Luhan. He didn't stop until he ran behind Luhan, and turned around to face the Iwagakure ninjas, as if he wanted to fight side by side with Luhan. At the same time, Diane, who was rushing to the battlefield of the round Jinchuriki column tower, saw Luhan's Susanoo from a distance. His face changed dramatically, and then he sent an order to attack in the direction of Susanoo. Iwagakure ninjas in other directions, except for the round Jinchuriki column tower battlefield, all Iwagakure ninjas in other positions, after seeing Susanoo, all start to move towards Susanoo. This is Susanoo of the cold light. When Luhan broke through the village of Kurigakure by himself, he used Susanoo frequently. Thousands of ninjas in Kurigakure saw it. After the news spread, everyone in the whole ninja world was unaware. The five-tailed black waiter arrived at Luhan and was shocked. After his pupils contracted violently, he bit Kiba and spit out two words, cold light. Ha! Lu Lang laughed. The huge Susanoo dashed forward, the huge sickle swung through the air, and the deafening whistling sound almost pierced one's eardrums. Ninjutsu. While the five-tailed crow was shouting, he turned into a shadow and rushed towards Luhan. Dodging several times in a row, Wu-tailed Wahoo actually avoided Luhan's continuous swing of the knife, jumped up and punched Susanoo in the abdomen, but did not shake Susanoo. Compared with speed and strength, Wu-tailed Wahoo was the same as the old man. I is far from it. Human Jinchuriki column strength is different from human Jinchuriki column strength, even if it is the same five-tailed human Jinchuriki column strength. Wahoo and Ban in the original work are also different. Luhan speculates that Wahoo should be inferior to Ban. Ban but once kicked out Kyuubi, Nine Tails, Chakra Mode Naruto. Only in terms of speed and attack power, Ban's taijutsu ranks among the top in the original work. Kaden, Fire Style, Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation. The power of the LV9 Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation released in Susanoo state has reached ultimate, enough to compare the top S-level Kaden, Fire Style, ninjutsu. Luhan released Kaden, Fire Style, because not only were there Uruho, and a lot of Iwagakure ninjas. It would be very difficult for Woohoo to break through Luhan's Susanoo in the short term. If he uses the most powerful move, there is a possibility of breaking. In the face of a siege, Luhan was also very difficult to kill Wahoo quickly, so he planned to clear the little minions first. Luhan started, and Loka was naturally not idle, and rushed into the crowd of Iwagakure ninjas. Go to target number 4 for support. Luhan shouted. He doesn't like someone getting in the way here. Roka's strength is not enough, and he can't form an effective support for Luhan. Letting him go to the battlefield of Jinchuriki Column Tower will have a great effect. After all, cage level exists. Luhan will definitely attract most of the Iwagakure ninjas to attack, and there will not be too many who can fight Might Dai and Kumogakure ninjas in the round Jinchuriki Column Tower battlefield. After Lorca left, no one was chasing him, and Luhan began to kill the quartet. It is easy to kill those Jonin and elite Jonin. Before the exhausted Iwagakure garrison army arrives, Luhan is fighting with the advantage of crushing, but this situation will not last long. Outside the village of Iwagakure, 10 kilometers to the north, there is a canyon. Quick! Damn it, I really didn't come alone. This is a conspiracy, and we've fallen for it. Lord Tsuchikage must know. 5 Iwagakure scouts were running wild in the canyon. They received an order not long ago to go to the north to find Onoki, who was going after Lao Ai. Whether or not Onoki will return to Iwagakure village immediately, they must tell him about it immediately. Call. The wind was blowing in the valley, and under the moonlight, there seemed to be a flash of sword light. Chirp _. A glimpse appeared from the back of the 5-person team, reached the front of the team in an instant, and stopped abruptly. The blade of Kurigakure is bleeding. 5 Iwagakure scouts fell to the ground at the same time before they could even scream in agony, with their 5 round heads rolling around on the ground. Why do you give me this kind of task? The teacher is really. Hatake Taishuo turned around and muttered dissatisfiedly. He felt that it was a waste to put such a master here. Even sending the weakest Kumogakure ninja among the 8 would be enough to easily deal with the scout team in charge of the message. Hatake Taishuo wanted to directly participate in the attack on Iwagakure village, but Luhan refused. 10 minutes later. Damn. Quick. The cold light is here. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up. Another Iwagakure scout rushed into the valley and headed straight to the north, and this time, there was a squadron of 28 scouts, and they had to pass on a very, very important situation. A cold light appeared in Iwagakure village. Onoki must go back to Iwagakure village right away. Iwagakure executives have realized the seriousness of the problem, and some wise people guess that since I deliberately lured Onoki away, it is likely to arrange for people to prevent Iwagakure from reporting to Onoki, so there are so many people to report this time. The squadron leader who leads the team is close to the elite Jonin in strength. Feeling the approaching of nearly 30 breaths, Hatake Taishuo, who was hiding in the dark, was shocked, slowly raised his sickle, and injected chakra. The mist surged, quickly filling a section of the canyon, and spreading to a larger area. Hatake Taishuo can say that Luhan's first true direct disciple, Kushina, is not counted, because Luhan did not teach her any special skills. In the early years, after Luhan obtained the Blade of Kurigakure, he made good use of the ability of the Blade of Kurigakure to create dense fog. After passing the Blade of Kurigakure to Hatake Taishuo did the same. But this time, it's foggy. Something's wrong, it's ninjutsu. Go away, quick. Iwagakure squadron, which was close to the thick fog, was scattered in all directions, and they all ran up the stone walls on both sides of the canyon.